Welcome back to the Castaway Consultants, where we teach future Survivor players how to play the game by criticizing former players. Today, we are talking about the post-merge of Survivor 35 Heroes versus Healers versus Hustlers.
Woo!
I'm one of your co-hosts, Josh Wessler, joined today by Derek Kubicek and Ryan Stacy. How are you guys doing?
Oh, pretty good. Hey, we got a hero, we got a healer, and a hustler here. It's pretty great. I'll let the listeners decide which one's which. But yeah, we're finishing up season 35, a controversial season to say the least. We're gonna have plenty to talk about, is what I will say today.
I almost don't even have anything to add on to that because we all know the format of the podcast, but I'm glad to be talking to you guys about this. There are some memorable things. I'm excited, particularly for Josh's segment at the end of the podcast, most memorable moment of the season and of the post-merge.
It's gonna be a tough one, might I just say. We've got some good contenders here.
And some bad contenders.
Well, good contenders just memorability wise.
and to tease the listeners a little bit, I think, in my opinion, on rewatching season 35, at some point in this podcast, I'm not sure if it'll be at the beginning, middle, or end, or when it comes up, or when I change my mind, but I owe Ryan, I think, a bit of an apology on an opinion that I have held about season 35 since it aired. So
Ooh.
I will go ahead and tease Ryan, who may or may not be aware of that, and the listeners that I have changed my mind on something and come around to Ryan's way of thinking. And every time we've talked about season 35, I've been fighting with him, and I've since kind of given up that fight, and we'll see.
I have genuinely no idea what he's talking about. This is super exciting. All I've ever wanted is to make everyone come around to my way of thinking because I'm always right. It's a big win, folks.
He'll take the little things. Rule 32: got to enjoy the little things.
Yeah, and obviously no spoilers quite yet, but I really enjoyed actually watching this season through again, just because it was only my second time ever watching it, and there was a lot of opinions of mine that have been affirmed, and it feels really good. I feel a little bit vindicated to myself just because, I've held some of these beliefs that we'll get to, and it's just so much more obvious now than ever. So stay tuned for later on. It's going to take a bit, but later on.
Okay. Here's my little tease I'm going to throw out. I think there's an episode in this batch that is a bottom 10 episode of Survivor. I think there's the 8 dark episodes that we've discussed.
Mostly.
That are...
No, all of them.
No, we've discussed all of them now.
Yeah.
We're through them all.
Yeah.
Just like the heinous stuff that makes everyone really uncomfortable, like Down Under the Idols, like Thailand, also like that kind of stuff that none of us like talk about. It's those 8, and then the next 2. One of the, I would say, bottom 10 is in this run of episodes. It makes me genuinely angry. We'll get to that. So that's a tease. But the point of this podcast is there is a lot of Survivor out there. Season 50 is coming up. If you do not have the time or the energy to watch all 50 seasons of Survivor, which you should, but if you don't, we're here to tell you what is must-watch Survivor. We rewatch so you don't have to. So, now that we're done with Heroes versus Healers versus Hustlers, guys, is this must-watch Survivor?
Unfortunately, yeah. I think this particular post-merge, at least in the latter half of the 30s, might be one of the most required to watch it, just because of some of the changes that we get. Now, in the chronology of the podcast, you might not need to watch it, but if you're starting at season 1 and you're at season 35 right now, and all of a sudden you're going on Survivor, you need to watch 35, at least the post-merge, to understand some important changes that have been made to the game.
Interesting. I want to say yes, but not for the reasons that Derek is thinking of. More for the actual gameplay and not the mechanics of the game. Just because, this isn't going to be one and done, and there's other ways that we're going to see this play out going forward in Survivor. But there's so much that I didn't remember from the first time watching this season as far as bad gameplay goes, and just interesting choices as far as how they approach alliances and shifting facets of the game. And I almost want to say yes because of that, just because it seems very unique compared to other seasons. So just as an approach to how you can play the game in the post-merge, I think I would say yeah, reluctantly. And that's after saying the pre-merge is absolutely not must-watch Survivor.
I would probably lean more towards no. There's stuff to learn here in terms of like, hey, here's what not to do, and that is directed both at the players and at production. But I think for the core big thing that happens this season, it's something that sticks around. Once we get into spoilers, we'll reveal what that is. But you can watch any season post 35 to get that information and it presented in a better way. So, I mean, it's not like a complete no. Like, I'm not going to say there's absolutely nothing here. But in terms of must watch, if you really were picking and choosing, I'd say definitely skip this one.
All right.
Now, that's a very mixed opinion.
So far from a ringing endorsement from us, it's not a hard no, but it is perhaps at best the world's softest yes.
The world's softest yes.
That is the ceiling on this thing.
Yeah, that is I think the consensus. Reluctant yeses from two of us, and then like probably not from the other.
You could do better. I believe in you, listeners. You can do better.
But I mean, without any further ado, are you guys ready to get into spoilers?
Yeah, let's jump into spoilers.
So, spoiler alert: if you haven't seen 35 and you want to,
now's the time.
Now's the time. 3, 2, 1, and
what we're gonna get this season is the first instance of the forced Final Four fire making. A twist I loathe. Capital L, loathe. I don't think you two are fans of it either.
No.
It is so dumb and heinously terrible, and it's the reason why I put the finale of this season as a bottom 10 episode of Survivor, because it is so insulting. So we have that to look forward to, which is nice. I really genuinely hope, because we get to vote on this for 50, whether or not we want to see Final Four fire making back or not. And I pray that the rest of the fans have followed our lead and said, no, let's not. That's all I want.
Yeah, it sounds like they're not really revealing how the votes went for things that are actually happening in the game. At this point, the only thing that we truly know as far as season 50 goes is that there's going to be a live reunion show. So it might not be until the finale when we find out whether or not there's fire making.
So I hope everyone who's listening to this did their job.
And fire making in general, I dislike. It's hard because I did find myself, even though I knew the result this season in 35, I did find myself kind of on the edge of my seat and just like, oh, how's this going to go? Which is insane to think about, knowing that I already know the result. So it's hard because that just proves that Survivor is getting what they want out of it, but that doesn't make it okay.
You were on the edge of your seat? I was.
I did. I was. They did a really good job at
ignoring.
making it. They did a really good job at making it tense, I would say.
No.
Especially if you've never seen this season before.
When I watched it for the first time, I was seething with anger. And
sure.
Rewatching it, I was also seething with anger, but I was mostly ignoring it because I was just like, I hate this episode. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm going to hang out with Derek's kid.
Yep.
And goof around instead. I'm going to play on my phone a little bit because I don't care, and this is stupid.
Now, the most egregious part is that they did not tell them.
Yep. That's the
you can say whatever you want about the fire making twist. The fact that they did not know ahead of time is egregious when it comes to the actual production of Survivor.
Yeah, absolute sin. They are lucky they got such good sports in the Final Four, because if they had me, you probably couldn't air what I would have said to Jeff Probst.
And it even seemed like Chrissy was taking shots between her teeth at him a little bit. Like,
which should be.
Chrissy, how was it, getting that information? And she's like, really, Jeff? That's for the second time this season. This is not an advantage, but we will get to that in due time. As for me, if you've listened to this podcast for any length of time, you know that I also loathe forced fire making at the Final Four. And I also loathe that the last time you can use an idol is at Final 5, and those two are put together. I've always said if you're going to keep fire making, which I don't want you to, idols need to expire at 6, and every time they've done something like that, I have commended them for it. But we are going to be stuck solidly in Big Move Survivor with zero threat management in Postmerge because of this. Because now, if you have an idol and you're decent at challenges, you're basically safe starting at like Final 7. And so it's just, it's hard.
It's annoying.
So again, hopefully the fans voted it out for 50. That's what I would like to see, but at least it was in the hands of the fans. I trust you guys. Reluctantly.
I don't trust you. Prove it.
Trust but verify.
Yeah. You earned that. I hope you did it.
Bet you won't.
Yeah, I bet you won't. All right. Well, let's get into this cast again. We're down to the final 12. We're coming into the merge with 4 heroes left, and our 4 heroes are Ashley Nolan, a lifeguard from Florida, Ben Driebergen, a Marine from Boise, Chrissy Hoffbeck, an actuary from New Jersey, and JP Hilsebeck, a firefighter from LA. We have 5 healers. We have Desi Williams, a physical therapist from Virginia, Cole Metters, a wilderness therapy guide from Arkansas, Jessica Johnston, a nurse practitioner from Kentucky, Joe Mena, a probation officer from Connecticut, and Dr. Mike Zahalski, a urologist from Florida. And finally, we have our 3 hustlers. We have Devin Pinto, a surf instructor from California, Lauren Rimmer, a fisherman from North Carolina, and Ryan Ulrich, a bellhop from New Jersey. The final 12. We'll see how this goes for them.
And for anyone at home who cares, my son was rooting for the guy in the cowboy hat because cowboy hats are cool.
And he was right.
He was right.
Ben wins. We spoiled this. No, did we do spoilers? Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we
I
did.
don't think we
Spoilers.
ever actually said that he won.
Yeah. So Ben wins. It's controversial. I don't hold it against Ben as a person.
No.
At all.
You can't.
No.
It's not his fault. He played the game that was laid out in front of him and handed to him and given to him. The cards that were dealt to him and all that nonsense. So this is not against Ben.
No, absolutely not. Nothing against the players on any of this.
Yeah, this is all 100%. All my vitriol's aimed at production. And then as a reminder, our winner picks. Josh and I both have Ryan, and Derek has Chrissy.
Yep.
Hey guys, we made the final 3.
Hey, well, we're done with that segment.
Yeah, we are.
And none of us win.
We are done with our winner picks for this season. I have a spot in my notes every season where for winner pick updates, and I never had to touch it this entire season because we did it. We didn't win, but we made it to the end. Womp womp.
We were wrong.
You guys ready to jump into the episodes?
Let's jump in.
Yep.
Should we get to getting?
We get to getting.
Episode 7 is Get to Get. So we're going to start with Yawa 2.0, which is Ben, Lauren, Cole, Jessica, and Dr. Mike. They are all going to agree to work together after the merge, but Ben does not trust Cole and Jessica, so a spoiler alert, this does not go well for the healers. The healers are going to have a rough time post-merge. And then one other thing, a contender for most memorable moment of the season, something we talk about all the time, is we're going to get a confessional from Devin. Before the merge. Devin is exhausted. He wants some food. He's dying. So we get a beautiful drone shot of Devin laying like spread eagle, almost Christ-like, on the beach. And then there's a drone above him that just slowly rises into the air, basically just leaving Devin for dead. And when the season aired, somebody edited this image to put the wasted word. When you get killed in Grand Theft Auto, the screen turns red and the word wasted pops up on the screen. Somebody did that with Devin, and that's something we talk about all the time.
Wasted.
Oh, I laughed so hard when this came up because I remembered it being a lot later in the season, so I was not expecting it to happen in the merge episode. And I'm like, oh my gosh, there it is.
It's so
Wasted.
funny. Wasted. I love it.
And yes, I did mark this down as a nominee for most memorable moment of the season.
Yep.
It might be the most referenced moment of the season in our friend group.
Yes. But we're going to get a merge. We're going to get some Outback Steakhouse. And my first note is Joe orders 2 steaks well done. And I am no longer rooting for Joe. He's a monster. Who eats their steak well done?
We've been over this before.
Yes, we have. Thank you, David from 48. He asked everyone the question, how do you like your steaks done? And he used that as a gauge for how much he can trust them, because the more done the steak is, the less you can trust them, I believe he said. And I think he said there's an exception where if it's like it's too rare, you can't trust them either. But whatever David said, I remember being pretty much in agreement.
Which makes sense because I would not trust Joe in this game. And that's before I knew how he liked his steak.
Yeah, if I hear someone likes their steak well done, I immediately am like wary of that person. Like, are you gonna like kill us? Are you okay? What's wrong with you? That's my first thought.
So as always, listeners, reach out. If you haven't
Yes.
already told us how you like your steaks,
Yeah.
here's a reason to comment again.
Yeah, go ahead and tell me if you like your steak well done, and I'll
Okay.
probably make fun of you. It's rare all the way, baby.
I've never, by the way, seen anyone get as excited about a ribeye steak as Ben Driebergen got
Yeah.
for ribeye. I'm like, ribeye is like a middle of the road cut. Why is he so jacked about the ribeye?
Yeah, I thought
Hey.
that was odd.
Hey, I respect it. My go-to is a ribeye as well.
That's so odd. But
A
why?
ribeye prime, not choice prime, obviously. I think it's just the fat content, the marbling of it.
Okay, well,
I think it's at the optimal amount.
nope.
I don't understand. It's filet mignon all the way, every day.
Filet mignon's overrated.
No, it's a rare filet mignon, factually correct as the best steak.
Nah.
You know what? Steak is good.
I can prove it with math, Josh.
We all agree it's not sirloin.
Yeah, there you go.
But anyway, so Joe is, he's loud and obnoxious according to Chrissy and probably other people, but specifically Chrissy. So already Joe is not winning any more friends over. Chrissy's going to try and strategize with Ben at the feast. Like they're sitting right next to each other and there's tons of other people around. And Ben is like, please stop. What are you doing? Let's talk about this later, please and thank you. Yeah, you got to be careful about when you strategize. Chrissy's going to do this twice.
It's either 2 or 3 times. 2 times it's gonna be really, really obvious, but another time in edit, it kind of makes you think that someone is thinking about it. I took note after the second time. Oh, Chrissy's doing this a lot.
Yep.
And that might be a little bit insulting to the people who can overhear it. Like, do you think we're not paying attention? Do you think we're so oblivious? This is $1 million game.
Yep.
So you can't do this.
That's what I would think if I was anyone sitting near him. Like, they're really just going to scheme and plot right there, huh? Wow, they really think not highly of us.
Right, exactly.
So Jessica wants to get the healers all together, so that's 5, plus Ben and Lauren, that's 7. Boom. Bob's your uncle. Everyone's on board with that plan except Ben. Ben's like, I'm good. I don't need to team with 5 healers and be the only hero in that group. That's fair. That's absolutely fair. You're probably 6 or 7 in that group. Maybe not because Joe is in the group, so maybe you're 5 or 6 in that group now because Joe might probably be 7. But yeah, I wouldn't want to stick with that group either, Ben.
And even so, they might want to keep Joe around because everyone can beat Joe.
That's fair.
None of them can beat Ben in theory, depending on how the game goes, I guess.
Yeah, when we get to Ryan's rank down, this is a weird season because I think there's a bit of fluctuation, and I also think there's a big asterisk. I think there's someone who could win. It's going to be Devin. I think Devin is someone who could blow everyone out of the water, but I don't think anyone knew it. According to post-game interviews, people didn't realize how great of a game Devin was playing, and people were not aware of what Devin does over the course of the season. So it really depends how does Devin present himself if he makes it to the end. Would he be able to win people over? Because he wasn't, if he going into a final tribal council, he would not have been winning. And he would have had to win people over, and how would he have done that? But he plays probably the best game of the post-merge. So it's a weird asterisk red circle around Devin.
I'm excited for Ryan's rank downs.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
Yeah, I don't know. That'd be interesting to if we would have been able to see that play out, just because from what I saw from Devin, I don't think he was great at articulating just aspects of the game. So I think being at Final Tribal, I think he would have had a hard time, depending on who he was going up against. I think he would have had a hard time convincing people to vote for him if they weren't already thinking about it.
Devin and Ryan, they're going to organize the heroes and the hustlers against the healers. Lauren's not on board, but they need, that's 6. Lauren would be 7. So Lauren is kind of stuck in the middle here. But she doesn't want to do that. She likes this plan to go with all the healers. Tells Dr. Mike about what's happening. Meanwhile, Cole continues to be a bottomless pit and won't stop eating and pissing out Ben. So Jessica and Lauren are trying to get Cole to knock it off, and Cole goes on an apology tour towards Ben. And a little late for that, but it's something.
Mm-hmm.
At the immunity challenge, Desi's going to win. And so the healers and Lauren, they're going to decide to target Chrissy, which probably was a mistake. None of them know how close Ben is to Chrissy. How could they? But maybe they, I don't know, ask Ben who he wants to target. If you're not sure about Ben, instead of giving him a name, maybe ask him who he wants. And at least that way, maybe he's not with you, but at least you have that little bit of ammunition, Ben threw out a name. That would be the better way to do it with someone you're not 100% sure about. There's no reason for him to want to target Chrissy. None whatsoever. So this really comes down to Ben and Lauren being the swings. Ben wants a healer out because there's 5 of them. Makes complete sense.
It's going to be really hard for Lauren to convince him otherwise. I know that she wants to go with that group because, what was it? Yawa? Is that what the name of the tribe?
Yawa.
After they had swapped, they're like, this is going to be it. This is going to be the 5. And we're going to really go from here. And Lauren really seemed to want to give that a shot. Lauren, maybe look for other options. I don't know how possible that something like that is going to be. So you might want to move on a little bit quicker.
Flexibility is key here. And like we've said before, you're just trying to survive this first vote post-merge. And ideally, in a perfect world, you want to get somebody out you've never been on a tribe with. So yeah, Lauren, maybe you can direct it towards someone you don't know, like a Joe or Desi. Those would be the two healers she doesn't know.
And Desi won immunity, so maybe go for Joe.
So yeah, so maybe take out Joe. And Joe is going to be one of the names that is discussed between the heroes and the hustlers. Joe and Cole are the two biggest threats to the hustlers, but they're going to land on Jessica, actually. They're like, less likely to have an idol. Why don't we just take out someone a little safer, like Jessica, which is fair.
Yeah. So primary goal is get rid of a healer.
Yep.
Secondary goal would be like, who's the threat, who's causing chaos, but after you factor in advantages and idols and alliances and who can you beat at the end, all right, yeah, we're going to pick the least likely person to get help from said advantage.
Yep.
From said hardware.
So we're going to go to Tribal Council. Joe plays the idol for himself. So yeah, good thinking not playing it on, or not taking out Joe. But it was the wrong call on Joe's part because it was 7 votes for Jessica, 5 votes for Chrissy. I think this was an excellent move from the heroes and the hustlers.
Right. And what's hard is because, like you said, Ryan, there's a lot of different ways that everything could have broke. But ultimately, it comes down for me, Ben and Lauren.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned, and like we've already beat to death, there's no reason for Ben to want to go with 5 healers and betray a hero. It does not behoove his game at all, especially because he seems like the kind of guy, at least so far, he's not saying that he's playing an honorable game, but I feel like that's a perception about him. So you have to try and like, all right, we're gonna keep this more above board for as long as we can. And the merge vote is a horrible time, I guess, to break that back, I guess.
And if Ben's going one way, Lauren's got to go with him.
Yes.
Yeah, she has no option. I agree. It was a great move on their part. Go with someone who you don't think would either have an advantage or someone wouldn't want to stick their neck out for and play an idol on. And if, someone like Joe has an idol, I don't think he's going to play it on her. I think the only people who would play an idol on Jessica is herself and Cole.
Yep.
And I think that's really it.
Josh, who do you have for best player?
This was actually kind of a tricky one for me just because it didn't seem like there was a ton here. I was leaning towards Ben just because it seemed like everyone else, it was kind of an obvious move for. And really all Ben had to worry about is making sure that he went the right way and that Lauren would go with him. So, I don't know. It's a soft Ben for me.
I went with Devin. I thought he was one of there's a couple people who were probably the key drivers behind this vote, but he didn't have any negatives to go along with it, like Chrissy, for example. So I ended up giving it to Devin.
I gave it to Ben as well, mostly because he's well positioned. I think he made the right choice. I loved the conversation that he had with Lauren when it came to getting on the same page. And then a subtle thing, which is in contrast to the other party, the fact that he was like, Chrissy, we can't be doing this at the merge feast. Yeah. So that's a small social thing where it's like, those little minutia can add up, and maybe that's the reason that you win, for those little things. So I gave it to Ben, but I can't fight Devin.
I can't fight Ben. Literally, because he's a Marine, I would lose.
Yes, we would all lose.
Even 3-on-1, I think we would lose.
He could subdue all of us.
I can fight a coyote. Josh can fight a duck. Or no, goose. It was a goose. It was a goose. Josh can fight a goose.
No, Josh wants to fight a goose.
Josh wants to fight a goose. None of us can fight Ben. It won't go well.
We keep referring back to season 48 with these questions.
I don't know why. It's not like I like that season, but, here we are.
A lot of questions were posed that season.
That's fair. A lot of questionable things happened that season in terms of gameplay. Worst player, I have Joe. He's obnoxious. He's annoying. He played the idol on himself. I don't really blame him, but technically it was a wrong move. Was on the wrong side of the vote. It's Joe.
Oh, yeah, I had Joe as well, and it's almost the way he played the idol. He almost did like the Amanda flipping them, twirling the idol around. Like, he's showboating the whole time.
And he's wrong.
So, I did make a comment to Ryan that the edit just never holds back on dunking on Joe whenever they can. And, they basically gave him clown music when this happened. So, I thought that was pretty funny.
I agree. It's absolutely Joe. Also, who orders their steak? Well done.
Yeah, that was a mark against us as well. Episode 8, Playing with the Devil. Oh, and Jessica does not make the jury, by the way. So Jessica's out. Womp womp.
Rip.
Lauren is going to find what basically they don't call it, but it's what we now know as a bank of vote advantage. It was hidden in some nails. Basically, you can not vote at tribal council, and you just take the parchment with you and save it for a rainy day. I don't know what they call it, just advantage, but now we call it the banker vote. At the reward challenge, JP, Devin, Chrissy, Ryan, and Cole win. And we're at the final 11. One person had to sit out via rock draw. That was Joe. Joe gets to go on reward. But it's kind of an interesting reward. I actually really, really like this. This is a cool idea. It is a family-style reward of pasta and salad and whatnot. And one person gets to go off into the jungle at a time and eat however much they would like. One serving for 6 people. You eat, and it's a lot of food, but you eat how much you want. Joe gets to pick the order. He did absolutely nothing to earn being here, but he gets to pick the order. This is great. I love this. Joe is actually going to do something intelligent.
Socially intelligent.
Socially intelligent.
But it's because it happens to be strategic.
He's like, I will go last. I did nothing to earn this. I will go last. Save me something. But he picks the brood order, or not the brood order, but the food order. Devin gets to go first because it's his birthday. And then JP. Cole goes third. And as he's eating, he realizes there's an idol clue written on the plate. He tries to hide it, but it doesn't really work because both Ryan and Chrissy find it as well. And Ryan actually gets rid of the plate and basically he moves all the pasta onto like the tablecloth.
Yeah, like a napkin or something. It was so funny.
And leaves that for Joe. That's just disgusting.
Well, and this is all started by Cole because Cole is the one who put the pasta on the tablecloth and then put the tablecloth back on the plate. I'm like, dude, you were so close. Like, you could have done all of this and then just moved a couple of steps ahead and just gotten rid of the plate. Like,
yeah,
ridiculous.
Ryan tosses the plate into the bushes, and so Joe never sees it. This is great. I love this. Well done. Survivor, you're gonna screw up royally later on this season. This was good though.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't going to win most memorable moment of the season, but I distinctly remember just this reward in general. Didn't remember that this was the actual season it was on, but just, people being able to choose in secret how much they eat and then everything that came with it. They don't do this again, do they?
No. This is kind of a oneer.
They absolutely should.
Yeah. But yeah, the idol is underneath the tribe flag. So they get back to camp. And Cole, who knows this? Cole, Christy, and Ryan all know this. Cole, who is in a bad situation, possibly next. He's up there with Joe as the top 2 to go next. He goes to pee instead of just going for the idol. Like, yes, this could well be a public idol. Just go get it. No, Ryan is able to just easily get it. Like he walks to the camp. He does like the Grandpa Simpson thing, like walking into the restaurant and immediately turning around. Ryan walks to the camp, immediately turns around and gets the idol. And the only person who might have seen it was JP. It's hard to... JP was there. It is hard to know if the NPC was paying attention.
Seriously, even at the reunion show, bro was sitting there like he just wanted to give you a side quest. And that's all respect to JP. I don't even think he had a single confessional in the post-merge.
Oh, he had like one.
Maybe one.
In his boot episode.
Yeah, maybe one in his boot episode. And by the way, it went unmentioned, but Chrissy was openly scheming with Ryan at the reward in front of Cole again.
Cole's just like, what are you guys whispering about?
Yeah, like they're laying right next to each other, and Cole's like, why are you scheming? I'm literally right here.
Okay, in their defense,
no,
they just discovered this clue to the idol, so they need to get on the same page. Now you can just say like, did you see the clue? Like, yeah, okay, cool, move on. Like,
that's what she did.
You can just be done.
No.
Yeah, no.
I think what you do is you try and just lock eyes. You don't say any words. Like, you can share a glance, like, hey, like, you did, like, and then if he's like, it's like, all right, well, we'll talk later,
Yeah, you just be like, no, but bad.
The fact that Chrissy has now made a pattern of this twice in 2 episodes, it can't do that.
Yep.
Chrissy's going to make a pattern of a lot of things.
Yep. So Chrissy's going to go start digging and to like cover up Ryan's tracks as Ryan walks away. And Cole sees this, so we get basically a digging scramble, but Ryan's already got the idol and made his escape. But Ben is gonna seize the opportunity, be like, Cole found the idol, I saw him. Oh no, Cole, you blew it.
Which this would have worked perfectly, if Ben knew that Ryan had it and they just wanted to plant it on Cole, like plant the suspicion. It worked perfectly because he did it anyways.
Yeah, it was just
he truly thought that he had the idol.
No. He was just like, I don't really know what happened, but I want Cole out. Cole found the idol. I saw it. He didn't know what was going on. He just seized the opportunity, and you know what? Good for you, Ben.
Solid opportunistic Ben. This was great. Meanwhile, ACT 34 Cole is now accused of having an idol that he does not have, all because he just had to go take a whiz. And he's not playing the game.
Cole's going to win immunity, probably saves himself.
Yeah, I think so.
So now the heroes and the healers, they're going to decide to split between Desi and Joe. How? You have 7 votes. There's 4 healers. That does not math at all.
Yeah, the math would be going 4 versus 4 and then winning on a revote.
Yeah, but like if the person with 4 plays an idol, then one of you is going home now.
But then it's true. But then it's 4 versus 6, and you just try to not be one of the ones. I don't mind the math.
No, the math does not math.
It does math.
How? Explain yourself.
What do you mean the math doesn't math? You tie and then you revote.
No, you don't tie though.
You can't tie. It's 4-3.
You split 4 and 3
with the 4 healers.
Yep.
Okay. The person. Okay. Let's say Desi and Joe. We're splitting on Desi and Joe.
Yes.
Desi plays an idol.
Yes.
Now it's 3 votes for Joe, but there were still 4 other votes for Ben.
Yes.
Now Ben's out.
Yeah, but they still have 6 in their cohort versus 4, and are they going to find another idol?
But you just lost one of your 7. That could be any of you.
Yep.
Also, it could be you.
Play better. Play better. Better. Good threat management, and it's not you. Good threat management, and it's not you.
Okay,
we
sure.
have got to talk about your drinking problem now.
Threat management.
No.
Threat management completely.
No. Fine. You're right that the math does not favor a split.
You're right. I know I'm right.
But if you are a member of the 7 and you know that you're in an alliance, and let's just do a stupid Derek dink down for just a second, and let's just pretend that King Ben is at the top and Prince Devin is second in command, okay? And you have 7 people in that alliance versus the 4. All right, cool. The people who aren't named Ben and Devin should, in theory, be okay with splitting the vote, tying, and then Devin or Ben getting taken out on a deflect, because then, cool, a big threat got taken out. I didn't have to do it. No blood on my hands. We still have 6 versus 4 moving into the next phase of the game. So for the majority of the people in the majority alliance, it makes sense to try and push a split vote as long as you don't think that you are going to be one of the ricochets. So I'm going to stand by that.
Why not just put all your votes on one person then? Because the exact same result would happen, except you could just target it all on one person and just don't pick the person most obvious for an idol. With a split, you're picking the person who's most obvious with an idol to put the majority votes on.
The reason might be is if they have someone who does want to defect, you only need one person to do that to make it like 4-4-3.
Well, then you lie to them and give them a different person to target. If Mike wants to defect, be like, oh yeah, you target Cole and you're all targeting Desi. No, Derek, Ben and Devin shouldn't want to go, like, let's say the other 5 go along with that.
They shouldn't.
All Ben and Devin have to be just like, no.
Yeah, and they should push to not do it. They should push to not do it.
So why bother with this at all?
And they should probably relent. Have better threat management.
This is insane. No. This is a horrible take.
Absolutely not.
Do you want me to cut this? Are you having any buyer's remorse?
No buyer's remorse.
I can cut all this out.
No, you can keep all of it in.
This is horrible for your credibility.
No, it's not horrible for credibility. There's social dynamics at play.
There's no reason on earth to do this.
This is a perfectly good way to get a powerhouse in your alliance taken out and still have the majority.
We are not signing off on this as Castaway Consultants. This is a Derek-only movie.
Yep.
Derek-only take.
We haven't had one of these in a few seasons.
And I thought you'd gotten better. But here we are.
We've grown out of this.
Is that vodka?
I'm glad it's not. Those days are long behind me.
Unbelievable. Ben and Joe are going to get into it. Joe decides to stir things up and basically accuse Ben of swearing on the Marine Corps. Ben does not like that.
He's just trying to get under his skin and
it
make
works.
him a target. And it works.
It doesn't make Joe any more likable in any capacity. Yeah. Which is Joe's problem.
Best case scenario is it keeps you around one more vote. If you squeak by all the way through, you're not any more likely of winning the game, man.
So not that it matters, because I actually made this note on the last episode. Because of his showboating and the fact that he got absolutely dunked on and he just looks a fool, I already had Joe as cannot win the game. And it's because of stuff like this that he does socially. Halfway into this episode, when this happens with Ben, I'm like, I feel great that he can no longer win the game.
Yeah, when would you put a fork in Joe?
Oh man, I would have put a Fork and Joe in the pre-merge because of all of the chaotic gameplay. He might have been like episode 1 or 2, like whenever he first blew up the healer camp, it'd have been like, oh, he's the bomb to defuse. Now, he would go on to make me regret that fork for probably the second half of the pre-merge, and now we're back because, okay, now you've just ruined your reputation with everybody left in the game.
I don't remember, but I feel like we asked you that in the pre-merge, and I don't think you had put one in him.
Maybe not. But either way, I would have had one in him in the merge episode then. So last episode.
All right.
Lauren is going to tell Ben about her bank vote, which she's going to say that's going to prevent us from splitting the vote, which, they already can't, which is literally my note. Like, you weren't able to do that anyway. So that isn't even a shot at you. That was just something I planned to say already.
You're good. You're fine. You're fine.
Now, Derek,
but
without
now,
Lauren's vote, do you still split it? Because, it's 4-2.
No, because now it's not.
Why not? The logic still stands.
No, because now you would need 2 people to defect for it to be a tie. Like a double tie, like a 2-way tie. Before, you only need 1, and you keep your options open. I don't understand why you guys think it's so much harder. Like, it is so much harder to convince 2 people to do something than 1.
Sure, but the math never made sense.
But okay, I already admitted that the math doesn't make sense. But from a social standpoint, there is maneuverability here, and there is a reason.
No. Ben is going to try to recruit Mike, so Lauren is able to play this bank vote. And eventually, they recruit Cole as well to help vote out Joe, which is just like bizarro world. Like, why would Cole and Mike agree to this? The whole thing's
not
weird.
Good at Survivor.
Yeah, that's the correct answer.
Oh, it's because you can get people in weak positions to defect, and then all of a sudden your split vote makes more sense.
But why would you trust them?
No, you wouldn't trust them, and that's why I say what you do is if you make it 4 versus 3, you make it a test of trust, and if someone does put a vote, all right, cool, and if not, then, the person that they wanted to go home goes home, but you're still up 6-4, and you definitely cannot trust them.
And you definitely cannot do the split vote next week either.
Yes, but you're saying you wouldn't even try it. This is
I wouldn't even try
it. Ryan, you are a stump.
No, I'm
you
correct.
Are a stump.
I am absolutely correct.
You are dug in and in the way, and I can do nothing with you.
Because I'm correct.
I need you removed.
Go for it.
Swedish campfire. I can't do this.
Swedish campfire.
That's where you drill a hole into a stump and then you burn it slowly over like 8 hours, and then it slowly burns down and burns. I think it's called a Swedish campfire.
I know what you're talking about. I just didn't know what it was called.
I think so, or a Swedish log, or I can't remember.
Okay. So we're gonna go to Trouble Council. Everyone hates Joe, which is hilarious. Lauren's gonna bank her vote, so she's not voting this time. We're gonna get 4 votes for Desi, 4 votes for Joe. So they pull it off.
Whoa, what?
They pull it off.
What? Immediately validated?
No.
This is more lucky that Cole and Mike suck at Survivor than anything else. Which I guess if you have the read of people like, oh, Cole and Mike suck at Survivor. And I think they have that on Cole at this point. I don't think they have that on Dr. Mike yet. He's going to prove that later, but I don't know if anyone's got that right.
I will say the viewers know because he's like, my 10-year-old said you got to go look for idols, so I'm going to go look for idols. So the viewers know we can't trust Mike.
Right. But I don't know if the rest of the cast realizes that Mike is definitely in contention for worst player of the season yet.
Strategically, Mike is a big old question mark.
But we are going to get 1 vote for Ben, 1 vote for Lauren. Revote. 7 votes Desi, 1 votes Joe. Getting rid of Desi is good, and probably, like, I have no problem with them getting rid of Desi. Like, she's won a challenge, she's smart, and she's nice. That's fine. How the hell did we get here? It's so weird that Cole and Mike went along with this.
Oh, it's so strange that they convinced 2 people in a minority position to prove their trust to the majority to try and make inroads with the powerhouse. Whoa, this is a family podcast. What a concept.
But putting all of your eggs in that basket.
No!
Because if they don't do that and there's an idol, luckily there's no idol in play. But if there had been, this would have been such an easy way for someone from the 7 to go home.
Yes. Would not recommend. Like, they got lucky.
This is more lucky than good.
There's a lot of luck in Survivor. It's how you navigate those instances that separates good from great players and bad from good players.
It's managing the situation to maximize your potential, without needing luck. If you get the luck, Awesome. No one's going to complain about that. But if you're going to rely on luck, you're going to have a bad time.
I'll just say this. This is not nearly Chanel levels of bad in terms of not being able to do math.
That's hard to beat.
Exactly.
I mean, Chanel is like the cream of the crop when it comes to not being able to do math, but this is also a situation.
This is as far as you're going to get me to move off my spot. I've already admitted that the math on its own does not make sense.
You're not moving off your spot, you stump?
Yeah. No. See, here's the difference. The cast literally proved that I was right.
No. The cast proved you could be right.
The cast proved what did Ryan? You like to say this all the time. Tommy Lee Jones, Men in Black. What does he say about people?
People are stupid. A person is smart. People are stupid.
A person can be smart, but people can be stupid. They're dumb and panicky. And guess what? Cole and Dr. Mike, in this moment, they made decisions that were questionable and panicky, and they're trying to make inroads. You can count on that.
You can't count on it.
You can't count on it, but you can rely on it as reasonably as you can rely on anything in Survivor.
You are picking a path that requires an incredible read on people and a lot of luck, when there was a path that doesn't require nearly as much luck. A little bit. There was a simpler path to go down. All they had to do was put their 6 votes if Lauren doesn't want to do it, on someone and hope they don't have an idol. And it's the same result if they have an idol than a big threat like a Ben or a Devin go.
Look, man, based on the votes, no one in the 7 was going home.
Results-oriented thinking.
When it's convenient for you.
Oh, of course. But that doesn't mean I'm wrong.
Listeners, call Ryan a stump.
Call Derek a stump.
Thank you, Josh.
The only non-stump here is me.
No.
Come on, I'm not a stump in this situation. Or if I am, Josh,
maybe
you're
not
with me.
Maybe not this situation.
Thank you. That's what I need.
You might not be a stump, but you're a teeter-totter. So you're not that much better.
That's fair. But before we move on here, 2 quick notes that I wanted to point out. One, it was kind of wild that they had just a completely open voting booth, because Lauren had brought it up like, oh, I'm going to have to figure out how to pull this off. And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean you have to figure out how to pull off not voting? Oh, okay, well, we're going to be at Tribal, and they're going to kind of clearly show that behind them, the jury can easily see what you're doing in the confessional booth.
Yep.
So that, and then also when they had to revote, she again had to get rid of her paper, so she flicked it off the side of the table, and you guys haven't fully thought through this advantage yet. We're still working out the kinks.
I do like that it was just completely exposed for them to see. Now it's hidden these days, but yeah, so that was kind of fun.
And even some old seasons, it's like across a bridge.
Yeah.
You know, in a pergola or something like that.
It's good. They were having a little bit of fun, which is fine. They got a little too rowdy by the end of the season, though. Best player, Derek, who do you got?
I have Ben again, and it's mostly because of the work that he was able to do on Dr. Mike and Cole to get them to flip, which is horrible for their game, and they shouldn't have done it. They should have stuck together and tried to do something else and make it work. But obviously, what Ben was able to accomplish here was enough to stay in a good spot in the Power 7, and someone in the Minority Alliance goes home. And by the way, Desi was a good move for everybody that wasn't a healer. I am okay with that.
I'm going to give it to Ryan. The obvious part is he found an idol, but I think that he did the most as far as, hey, Chrissy and Cole both had seen the clue and, just kind of moved on. Ryan actually acted on that, and it's like, okay, I'm going to prevent anyone else from being able to actually read this. I'm going to give him a lot of credit for that. And, he voted correctly, I guess, but so did a bunch of other people. So, Ryan.
Yeah, I agree. I had Ryan as well. He found that article. He had to look for it. It wasn't just eating and then you find it. He had to search. He prevented Joe from seeing it. Got the idol for himself really quickly without anybody except maybe JP and Chrissy knowing. And then knocked out Desi. He's part of that plan. So good for Ryan.
Yeah, and by the way, I can't fight Ryan, but one of my points for Ben was I forgot about him being opportunistic and just pointing at Cole, he's got the idol. Yep. So I forgot to say that I enjoyed that, but
clearly you can fight Ryan, though. You just did it for a whole episode here.
No. I can fight you, Ryan. Lesser Ryan.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Worst player, Josh, who do you got?
I don't know. I put Joe here just because he was the one that they split the votes with. It easily could have been him, and I think he's still just kind of in that, no man's land, not really having a great position in the game. He probably can't win. People are other healers are even turning against him to be okay with him getting voted out. So there wasn't really anything terrible here. I know I get the interaction with Ben, but he's just trying to push buttons to see what might work. So I'm not gonna say that that was the worst move ever. I
Sure.
don't, it wasn't a great move. But when you're at the bottom and you probably can't win, you might as well try anything. But I think where he's at right now is just awful. So I'm giving it to him.
Yeah, his social game is terrible. He was left out. At least Mike and Cole have enough social inroads to be let in on a plan. And then he lost a close ally in Desi, so it's Joe.
I also wrote Joe. Mine was a little bit more black and white. I would have given it to Cole for having the wool pulled over his eyes and completely botching the idol situation. But he won immunity and technically saved himself for this episode. So it is with much chagrin that I exclude him just for that. And I also wrote down a dishonorable mention to Chrissy for, again, talking game right in front of people, because that could have had Cole literally just Nyanka style sprint back to camp and dig up the idol for himself.
And honestly, it should have.
And he probably should have. And then let's say he goes on to win immunity. It's like, all right, cool. Now Cole is guaranteed safe 2 more times, or they have an idol in their healer minority that if they play it right, can knock someone out of the majority. So Chrissy doing this was really, really bad. But I do have Joe ultimately.
One other point in Cole's favor is he did also take a terrible situation of, having the idol just spotlighted on him, even though he didn't have it. And it's like, well, looks like my only move is to pretend I have an idol. So he kind of pivoted pretty well there.
He tried. Episode 9, Fear of the Unknown. Mike, he's going to try and just completely jump ship. He sees the healers as a lost cause. That's fair. Time to move on. Ryan is going to tell Devin that he found the idol. And, a big deal is made about sharing secrets on this season and how that'll get you in a hot water, which I generally agree with. But what we have to remember here is Chrissy knows Ryan has the idol already. And maybe JP, that is a big question mark. So it's not quite a public idol, but there's 1, maybe 2 people who know about it. And it is better to be the person to tell somebody you have an idol instead of them hearing it from somebody else. So Ryan telling Devin, his closest ally, that makes sense. You do not want Chrissy to tell Devin that Ryan's got the idol, because that just blows up your spot. So I get Ryan telling Devin about the idol at this point. So I'm fine with that one.
I have no issue with it. It's what he says along with it. It's that he says, you're the only person I'm telling this about. I don't know his exact word, if he said that or if he's like, you're the only person that knows. Leave that out completely. You don't want to add any sort of, contingencies to, the information that you're telling people, just in case something happens.
Yeah. Once you start comparing notes, you have to worry about that. So if they're not going to talk to each other and compare notes, you can try and play with some fire here, but generally that's more risky. And I don't know why Ryan would feel the need to do that kind of maneuver in a majority where people are looking for reasons to jockey people up or down within that 7. So play with fire at your own risk, but there's no need for you to add qualifiers there.
Oh, there'll be plenty of playing with fire this season.
Correct. Forced.
Chrissy, Cole, JP, Mike, and Joe are going to win reward. They're on a boat, sails by camp. Normally I wouldn't care, but Ben, Ryan, Devin, and Ashley all run out there and moon them, and that is hysterical.
Mm-hmm.
Might as well.
And again, can't do this anymore, but still fun.
This is hilarious.
Would you be able to get away with mooning at least?
I mean, if you did it, I suppose they couldn't stop you, but they could always pull you from the game. I don't know
They
what the
probably
penalty
wouldn't pull
is.
you, but if that's against the rules, they would probably tell you, hey, don't do that.
They'll give you a warning, there isn't there isn't anything else being shown at least.
Yeah, and it's also hilarious.
That is a disgusting act.
That's a disgusting act. This
Hilarious, disgusting.
7 people understood that.
I didn't
reference.
understand the reference.
If you know, you know.
If you
That's
know,
all
you know.
need to know.
Okay.
It's a Minnesota Vikings reference. Randy Moss.
It's
That
a
is a
Joe Buck.
disgusting act.
Joe Buck that is a disgusting act. As he moons the crowd at Lambeau Field.
Hilarious. So Ryan's going to tell Ben about the idol. And again, this wouldn't have technically been a problem because Chrissy knows. Chrissy and Ben are close. Chrissy could tell Ben, you're better off being the one to tell Ben. You can at least make that bond. So I get why Ryan would tell Ben. The problem is he doesn't warn Devin, or he put that qualifier in there. You're the only person I'm telling. All you do is I got to tell Ben because Chrissy knows. Chrissy knows about this. Maybe JP knows about this. I'm going to tell Ben. And yeah, maybe this is going to end up being a public idol you have to play sooner than later. That it is what it is. Leaving Devin out like that or putting that qualifier in really burns Ryan here.
Yeah, and by the way, the more that I'm thinking about how Ryan does this, it may have just been better to try and get those 4 together and said, look, guys, I did find that idol yesterday. Chrissy and I, we saw the clue at the reward. We didn't want Cole to get it. I just wanted us to know. So if we decide we want to use it for the 7, we can use it for the 7. Let me know what you think. And then there's no bad blood. There's no comparing notes. It's basically a public idol. You can assume that everybody will know after that.
Yep.
But at least your closest allies can believe your intentions. Now, they can choose whether or not they, act on that belief, but like you've given them no reason to distrust you.
It's crazy how at one point like this and just like one changing of how you frame information to someone is going to change the entire season.
Yep.
This changes everything.
Yep.
Ryan at this point could win the game. And if they stick together as this group of 4, which I think could have been very likely that they would, go together as just a solid group of 4 to, the end or almost the end, it could have worked, but it just all blows up.
Joe's going to decide to act like a jerk to be taken along as a goat. His thinking is, if I stay in the game, I have opportunities. And so, yes, I'll be seen as a goat, but at least that'll give me a time and a place potentially to do something later on. Okay, that's a strategy.
Has this strategy ever worked?
I don't think so. I
mean, it's been effective at what he's trying to do in like advancing in the game, but as far as if you're trying to win the game, I don't think we could recommend it.
I mean, it got Philip Shepard 2nd place, so there's that, and he got to return for fans versus favorites. So there's that. You'll be memorable, but I would not recommend this to win. That said, Joe has dug himself quite the hole. So basically, don't play like Joe at all. Besides, he's got, like I said, Joe has some strategic chops. His social game is terrible and his physical game is below average. So yeah, don't play like Joe. Joe's not someone to emulate.
Just change your personality completely.
Don't be from the East Coast. Just don't be from the East Coast. It's that simple.
Step 1. I'm not saying don't be from the East Coast.
That was a shot.
But Joe does remind me a little bit of Rodney.
Yeah.
Like just his demeanor, the way he carries himself.
Hey, look, Connecticut's not far from Boston.
Yeah.
So he really pisses off Ashley and Chrissy. So yeah, good job. You went from not being able to win to not being able to win. So
I mean, I guess on that front, you didn't really hurt yourself.
Ben is going to tell Devin that Ryan has an idol. And so Devin's like, okay, I can't trust Ryan anymore. Ben bomb.
The first of many.
And this is the interesting point in the episode. And this is where everything about this season starts to change. I think that what follows here is actually a mistake by Devin. I think Devin is way too reactive to this information. He automatically just he listens to Ben, takes in the information, and essentially is like, well, can't trust Ryan anymore. Screw Ryan. Like, and as much as I don't like, as much as I'd love Ryan's to not win the game of Survivor, I cannot recommend doing this, Devin. Like, go and actually talk to your number 1 alliance member to clear up any sort of information.
Yeah, that's not a bad plan. I mean, he does make a tight bond with Ben here. But yeah, he could go talk to Ryan and be like, hey, Ben told me about your idol. So how does Ben know about this? Because maybe Chrissy told Ben.
Exactly.
I don't think we
Ben,
see.
Ben could be lying to you.
Yeah, I mean, he does know about it, but how does he know about it? I don't remember if Ben said how he knows about this. I don't remember if we saw him say Ryan told me specifically. But yeah, Devin is a little bit reactionary. I think that's correct. Now, he's right, and he shouldn't fully trust Ryan because Ryan does not only share information with Devin. He shares it to other people. But that doesn't mean you have to completely blow the bridge up. You just be a little cagier, and if you want to make a different Final Four deal that excludes Ryan, that's fine. But yeah, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater is what I'm saying.
Right. The only thing I'll add in, I think at this point in the game, Devin's number 1 ally might actually be Ashley.
Yeah.
It's hard to know. I know that him and Ryan have played together longer, But it seems like Devin and Ashley have made their own little duo voting block situation. That's not going to be totally evident in this episode, but if we go forward like 2 episodes and then cast it backward, I think this is maybe what pushed Devin into that if he wasn't already leaning that way.
Lauren is going to win immunity, and this challenge would have killed me. It's the one where they have to, like, they can't go too low, they can't do too high, and my back was just screaming from watching it. I think I would have gotten in this challenge and been like, Jeff, I'll take a reward, please. Do you have any food you could offer me instead? And I would have instantly taken it, because there's no way I'm ever winning this challenge in a million years.
Alms for the poor, please, Ryan.
I actually thought that I would have been pretty good at this one.
I doubt
You never
it.
know when you're gonna just kind of like have back spasms or cramp up. But outside of something like that happening, which will probably happen when you're dehydrated on Survivor, I feel like I could just be in like the perfect position for it.
I have 2 squashed vertebrae. It ain't happening.
Yeah.
Cole's the target. Ben and Lauren, they want to split between Cole and Mike. And Ben is really kind of pushing this hard and not really taking in anyone else's opinion into account. Ashley, Chrissy, Devin don't like this. They all want Joe out just because they're sick of Joe's crap. Ben is going to tell Mike that Cole's the target, which is correct. And Mike does not buy it. Okay. I mean, that's kind of fair. Being skeptical is fine. But Chrissy's this is like the best part. Chrissy's going to try and tell Ben to chill out by telling him people feel steamrolled by him. And Ben's like, no, they don't.
Ben, dear, honey.
The winner of Survivor 35, everybody.
Yeah.
All I'll say, I have a note here that Ben's threat management is bad.
Yes, it is. At Tribal Council, Mike is going to do something. He is going to basically tell Joe, like, hey, follow my lead. Joe, don't do it. That's somehow worse, Joe. Mike is going to call out his tribe. They're like, hey, you guys hate Joe so much, but you're not voting him out. That shows poor moral character. What? And basically,
Follow my lead.
Mike's plan is to basically try and piss off the tribe so they vote for him. And Mike has an idol, so his plan was to try and draw the votes at Tribal, make it a live Tribal. Again, don't do that. Play that on himself and blindside somebody. That's his plan. What?
So this is going to be a very niche analogy, but for anyone out there who's seen the Melissa McCarthy movie Spy, Jason Statham in that movie is just kind of this bumbling idiot who always stumbles into the situation and makes it so much worse and ends up doing nothing. There's a part at the end of the movie where he runs and he's like, I'm going to stop delusion. And then he knocks himself out by like hooking his jacket on the door, and everyone's like, well, that was weird. Moving on. That's exactly what I thought of as I'm watching Mike be like, all right, follow my lead. And then proceeds to make people mad, and they do what they want anyway. Never assume a live Tribal. It is so much rarer than what you think.
Yeah, never try and do the live Tribal strat.
I think that's perfect for Mike. He's just doing all this here, and everyone's just like, well, that was weird. Anyways.
Yeah, absolutely bizarre move from Mike. Completely ill-conceived, poorly thought out, and badly executed.
Well, especially when, like, if you're trying to do, I don't even know. If you're trying to do something to just deflect the votes or draw them to a specific spot, that's one thing. You have an idol. Like, there are other options here. There are so many things that you could do before this point to try to either position yourself nicely to play this idol or draw to the right person to be able to blindside someone else. This was one of the worst ways you could have done this.
Yep. So Mike does play the idol on himself. It's 7 votes for Cole, 2 votes for Mike, 1 vote for Ben. Mike and Joe voted for Cole. Okay, like, I get voting for Cole, you could sacrifice him and you two live another day, but, like, why waste the idol then?
It makes no sense.
Yeah, the only way this would have made sense is if you voted for someone like Ben.
Yeah, if you're trying to get Ben out of the game.
Yeah, I don't know if this is how you spend. Yeah. So he votes for Cole, plays the idol on himself. So is he just like, follow my lead as another one of my alliance members goes home?
Yeah, bizarre.
Man, I would hate to be one of his patients.
I hope you're better at urology than Survivor, Dr. Mike. It sounds like it, I guess, but
Well, what I think we see is a genuinely awesome dude trying his best to be mischievous. He can absolutely be my doctor any day of the week, but he can't be my Survivor Alliance member.
Yeah, I'm not working with Dr. Mike. Seems like a wonderful person.
He seems great.
Chrissy and JP were backup votes for Mike. So this was a good move, generally. However, let's get into Ryan's rank downs. Because at this point, my bottom three at this point were Joe, because everyone hates him, and then Cole, because people don't like him very much, and JP, because he's just... Are you here? Are you a person?
There is an argument for Joe above JP, truly. And it's just because we have nothing about JP.
Yeah. So those are my bottom three. So I do think... So JP was, he voted for Mike, but he was part of the plan to get rid of Cole. Joe voted for Cole. That's bad for both of them. Those three needed to go to the end together. There will be some shuffling, I think, in the rank downs overall. But at that point in the game, I think those three really needed each other. But I'm going to scroll down to my rank down here. And this is like one of the more confusing rank downs I've had. But from most likely to win to least likely to win, here's what I've got. And I don't feel strongly about this. But I do have Devin at number 1. And it's because I do think Devin would have won. But here the problem with this is I don't think anyone else knew that. It was one of those things where Devin would have won in the final tribal council by revealing his secrets. And according to exit interviews, nobody else saw it coming. After like the show was over, like, yeah, I would have voted for Devin, but I wouldn't necessarily have at the time because I didn't know it would have depended on his performance. So question mark? Devin, number 1. Ben is number 2. Then I think it's Ashley. Then Lauren. Now it's where it gets weird. It's Dr. Mike, Chrissy, Ryan, Cole, JP, and Joe are the bottom 6. And man, oh man, like I'm confident Joe and JP are the bottom 2. I think I can put Cole on top of them. So I think that's my bottom 3. I think I'm confident with those 3. Then it's a weird Dr. Mike, Chrissy, Ryan. I don't really know. Chrissy's above Ryan. And I don't really know where Dr. Mike is because people seem to like Dr. Mike, but he is terrible at the game. So that is just like, where do you fit in here?
It's like if you play the game out as you do, and we're going to, get ahead of myself a little bit. If Chrissy wins 4 individual immunities, it's like, all right, we like Chrissy enough, and Mike, you really didn't do anything. So like eventually, but at this point in the game, I think I do have Dr. Mike above Chrissy. Like right here, this snapshot.
Now this tribal council might change things?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe.
I mean, I think it's kind of like Ryan, too. I actually think that Ryan should be a lot higher in your rankings as far as this, like up until this episode goes. Like, honestly, I would put him in like top 3.
Sure.
Now, he's going to very quickly plummet towards the bottom, as will Dr. Mike. But moment in time, this episode, I think that he's, one of the biggest threats to win.
And that tells you everything you need to know about Survivor. I love to do the rank downs, especially when the season's over, because it's easier to put it all into place typically once you have all the information, or at least like the season's done. But these are very fluid during the season, which we discuss when we do the dank downs, jank downs, lank downs, rank downs. This is a weird season for it.
Yeah, the only change I think I'd make to your top 3, I would put Ben above Devin because like he's playing a horrible threat management game. So if you play big and not subtle, and you make it to the end because everyone's like too inept to get you gone, I think that you're gonna win most of the time.
Potentially.
So I would have Ben 1, Devin, and Ashley at 2 and 3, and then after that, I think I'm pretty good with your rank down actually. So, but I see what Josh is saying too.
So Cole goes home. Let's get into best and worst player. Yeah. After that weirdness, that was weird.
Yeah.
Oh, that was weird.
Yeah, that was weird.
For best player, I have Devin kind of by default. Everyone else in the round table had at least a minor flaw in this episode. So he helped take out Cole. He had a good enough bond with Ryan and Ben to learn a lot of information. Yes, you could say he was reactionary towards it, but that wasn't in this episode necessarily. So I have Devin.
I did not feel good about my best, but I gave it to Chrissy simply because of the conversations had within the 7. I appreciated that Chrissy fought for what she wanted to Ben, but ultimately relented because at this point of the game, threat management makes a difference. So while Ben gets what he wants, I like that Chrissy's got a voice, but she's willing to play nice at this point in order to strategically align herself with options going forward. So I have Chrissy, but I don't feel strongly about it.
I actually had not decided yet.
Oh.
I was debating between Chrissy and Devin. So thank you for not making it easier.
Remember when I said
Essentially-
teeter-totter? That's why.
Yeah.
This is exactly why.
Essentially, and my thought process is I want to give it to Devin. However, I'm still trying to figure out whether or not this is a good move for him. I think that there's a giant missed opportunity from just immediately taking Ben at face value and cutting ties with Ryan. Now, what you said, our Ryan, what you said, is that doesn't really, we don't really see the fallout from that in this episode. You know, he could just be placating Ben and just, you know, oh, I'll figure out later with Ryan. So I think I'm gonna go with Devin because of that. But just know, if he would have moved all that up into this episode and just started to cut ties with Ryan, he absolutely would not be getting my best player.
Okay. Worst player, Dirk, you got?
I have Joe again, but my reasoning this time is that I have JP above Joe. And so with Cole going home, Joe definitively has no chance to win the game. I would have already stuck a fork in him, but the only guy he could have competed with was Cole, and Cole is now gone.
It's Mike. What's going on, man? This is where Mike's game just starts to plummet. I have no idea what your strategy is. I mean, I know what you're kind of maybe thinking of what your strategy is, but why? Why?
I'm not gonna fight you.
So unnecessary. There's so many other things that you could do. So, anyways,
That was
Mike,
weird.
That was weird.
I love that analogy. No, so I was a teeter-totter when I first got to this episode between Mike and Joe, because I agree with both of you. I think this is like a worse outcome for Joe, because he really needed Cole, and I think we could slide Mike into that third spot now.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe. So maybe it's the bottom three now, Mike, JP, and Joe after Cole goes home. But I still think Mike can win. However, that was such a shot in the foot for no good reason that I'm going to give it to Mike for whatever that maneuver was at Tribal Council, and he wasted his idol.
Yeah.
So dishonorable mention to Joe.
We'll stick with deep cut football references and say that Dr. Mike is the Plaxico Burress of Survivor.
Oh.
like, why did you do this?
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, Plaxico Burress actually shot himself in the leg and
Oh, did he?
prevented himself
in
from
like a nightclub, I think.
yeah, and prevented himself from getting a massive contract because of it. And this is after he was a Super Bowl hero.
Womp womp.
So anyway,
Whoops.
So yeah, Dr. Mike, for whatever that was. Episode 10, buy one, get one free. This is a double episode, so 2 hours, 2 eliminations.
and I will have
Buy
2
one, get
bests
one
and
free.
2 worst
Yes.
because of this.
Yes. So get your crap together, boys. Lauren is going to win reward. She brings Devin, Ben, and Ashley with to form a secret alliance within their 7 round table alliance, which is what it's kind of been dubbed. So we have a 4 within it. They are going to share some information. Ben and Devin reveal that Ryan has an idol. Lauren is going to reveal that she now has the extra vote, and they get letters from home. So yeah, quite the reward. A lot of stuff happened here.
So much information is spread around, and I'll say, like, kudos to Lauren, because she still had kind of a questionable spot in this game. It seems like people like her, but who could really say what she's actually done so far? And she brings this group together and somehow extracts all of the information, basically, that's in the game, because she's just so open about it. She's like, let's get it all out there. This is what I have. And everyone just starts rattling. Like, Devin follows suit, just like, Ryan has this, blah, blah, blah. And somehow she just puts the right people together to just open up the floodgates.
And Ash is just sort of like, oh my gosh, I just learned so much and I got nothing to share.
Ashley's like, I might be disconnected from this game.
Well, she spun it as a positive, like, oh wow, I learned all of this new information. Whereas, like, I was expecting that confessional to go the other direction, like, why am I just now learning all of this? Like, I thought I was more plugged in than this, but clearly, like, you guys know some things that I don't. But to her credit, she's kind of right. She was never on the outs with this particular 4. She was very much in with Ben and Devin for sure. So, like, I guess good for her on having the read, but, like, be skeptical of the fact that all of this stuff just comes out at reward.
Yep.
That should tell her that she, you know, maybe at this point in the game, she's in, you know, pretty big danger of kind of ending up in that 3rd to 5th place.
Yeah,
range.
she's got to step it up.
You're in a lot of alliances. You're close to people. You probably don't have really enemies outside of maybe like Joe, but you don't know anything. And that's important.
So she needs to step it up, and I think she does. It's not gonna work out for her, but I think she tries. So okay, when Ben and Devin had the conversation last episode, they went up on top of this ridge above Fiji. And so the next day, Ben is going to go up there to read his letter that he got from his wife again. On the way back down the hill, he's going to find an idol clue. And okay, so it's time to get into tinfoil hat territory. I think this is the most tinfoily season since 1. Because, they went to court. There was a settlement with Stacey Stillman. I think there was something tangible there. This is probably number 2, and that is Ben's win. It is controversial because of not only the Final Four fire-making twist, but some of his idol finds. Ben is going to find 3 idols, and there is some suspicions about how they were hidden, and some people suggest that these seem to favor Ben. And, I want to put a little more faith in the Survivor producers than that, but I can kind of see it a little bit.
Yeah, when you start to put a few pieces together, I understand why some people wear tinfoil hats. And honestly, when the season first aired, before I understood gaming rules, like for example, forced Final Four fire making, that is something that would have absolutely needed to be in place with the gaming committee before the season started. And while the surprise on the cast is horrible, never do that. I don't believe that there are shenanigans there, but you mix that with the fact that this idol is hidden in Ben's hangout place and another idol is hidden where Ben was known to spend a lot of time and even sleep when he needed to get away from the bamboo popping in the fire. I believe that is what I read somewhere. Again, I couldn't verify a lot of this, but it feels a little tinfoil hatty where like, oh, well, we can just hide the idols anywhere. And it's in the rule that when an idol goes out, one comes back in the game. Pretty vague contract with the gaming committee. So you can hide it wherever you want. Take that however you would like. But that is a controversy that existed while the season was airing live and then right after it concluded and has survived to this day a little bit.
Yep. This one is still in the ethos. And I think, I'm not saying for sure that this is what happened, but I there's stuff that suggests that it might have. So
do with that what you will.
It's a little sus.
We likely will never know.
Yeah, I don't think we ever will.
And I'll wait to touch on this more later.
Jeff Probst, big fan of the podcast.
Yeah, did you rig this for Ben to win? And the thing they're going to say about fire making is this was not rigged for Ben to win. This was implemented for a player like Ben to win. Basically, they were sick of people like David Wright getting voted out at the Final Four, which is exactly what happened with we were sick of Terry Dietz getting voted out at the Final 3. It's a complete, we'll get into more into that later. It's a complete misunderstanding of Survivor. But yeah, they want players like Ben who do the big flashy moves. They want those players to succeed because it's a good TV. They want to lie to us a little bit and be like, hey, this is how you win Survivor. No, it's not. Those can get you to the win, but that's not how you win Survivor. So it's a little bit of the Survivor producers kind of like lying to us a little bit.
Or more like gaslighting. Like, this is the way to do it. It's like, no. I thought the point was that there was no one way to do it, but now all of a sudden there is becoming a way to do it. It's the same thing that we talk about with the 40s. We see everyone get locked into a group of 4 because the group of 5 is too big. So core 4. There's a reason that these things have been happening season after season after season.
Yep.
It's because there's a formula.
And it's a bit of a misunderstanding of the Survivor producers who are trying to make... You got to remember, I think they're TV producers first, game masters second. But Ben is going to find an idol.
All that to say, Ben found an idol.
And it's a little sus.
On the way back from his hangout.
Immunity challenge. Devin, Ben, and Lauren, they're all going to sit out for chocolate and peanut butter. And Ashley is going to win immunity. The round table, they decided they're going to split on Mike and Joe and take out Mike after whatever that he did in the last episode because they can all beat Joe. But Devin, he's going to tell, they want to do something different. They want to mix things up. So Devin is going to tell Ben to vote with Chrissy, Ryan, and JP and play double agent. Mike and Joe will not know he is part of this plan. They are going to bring Mike and Joe in and they are going to vote out Chrissy, Ryan, or JP. It's going to turn out to be JP. They're going to target JP, but they're going to have Ben play double agent. That way, after the vote, he can hear the reaction from Christy and Ryan and learn any of their plans. And then Joe and Mike will be left in the dark a little bit, not knowing that Ben is out of it. So it's actually a brilliant strategy, I think, from Devin to have Ben do this. It requires Ben to be good, but Ben, it turns out, is good. Ben is good enough to pull this off. This is super fun.
Yeah, great on him for just recognizing the situation.
And I have a note that like the first half in particular on this episode is really compelling gameplay. And this is the start of that, because Ben recognizing that he's kind of seen as King Ben is the perfect scapegoat for like almost playing into that threat management. Like, oh, I was left out of this one a little bit, but at the same time, you know, you're kind of raising your threat level with the people who are in on the secret. But the fact that Devin is coming up with it and implementing it is a great final tribal council selling point. Remember when Ben didn't do that thing, or he's being undercover? That was my plan. Ashley, will you back me up on that? And I'm sure Ashley would back him up on that.
I love this. This is so fun. It's something I kind of always wanted someone to try on Survivor, and when they actually did this, I was like, oh, this is exciting.
The only thing I don't like about this is that it doesn't last long enough. I wish it would have gone on for like 2 votes. It only really kind of lasted for 1.
Yeah, because we're going to take out JP here, and in the next episode, Joe's all high and mighty. He thinks he's in on it now, and Joe gets just whoop-de-whopped. And so it's a great little 2-episode arc, and it's a lot of fun.
I think it lasts the perfect amount of time for someone like Ben, just because if it lasts too long, you might have a harder time actually winning the game. People might feel, I don't know, a little bit more scorned, I guess, if if you're just playing double agent for too long.
Or that he was out of the know for too long. So, maybe Ben pushed like, I'll fake it for this one, but I'm not going to do 2,
You got to remember, in a lot of these like spy movies where you go undercover, sometimes you get your cord cut and you're left out to dry. So you got to be careful. But I love this. This is so fun. So yeah, Ashley and Lauren, they're going to bring in Joe and Mike. So we're going to go to Tribal Council. It's 5 votes for JP, 3 votes for Mike, 1 vote for Joe. Ben is going to pretend to be so shocked that he was left out of the vote, along with Ryan and Chrissy. Excellent. However, I don't really get why JP was the target. This would have been a great time to go for Ryan, I think, because Ryan hasn't tanked his game yet, and he has an idol still. You could have blindsided Ryan with his idol out of the game here. Easy.
I see what you're saying. I think they still want Ryan's idol. Like the people who are closest with Ryan, maybe they recognize, hey, he might be willing to play that idol on someone to save them because he's not doing a ton that's vocal or visible in the game right now. I'm not saying that he can't win, just, hey, he might use this for a big move in the future. So I understand not targeting Ryan. I don't mind JP, but like, if you're going to turn on him, like, why not turn on Chrissy? Is it because, Chrissy and Ryan are a duo and Ben wanted to stay in with what is a known duo and JP was like a number who wasn't contributing strategically? I don't know. I'm not even so sure that the 7 should have split here. It's like we were going to split eventually, but why not go one more? I don't know. Someone tell me how to feel. Josh, you tell me how to feel, because I know how Ryan feels, but I don't know how I feel about the 7 breaking up here.
I agree with both of you. This isn't the right move. If you are going to split, I think it should be Ryan that goes home, but I do think it's too early to split. You have a group of 4. And all you have to do, let's pull it back a little bit. You're at the reward challenge. You have this 4 that you're bringing together. This is a perfect moment to just take that, share the information, be like, awesome. At 7, because 4 is more than 3, we can be the new majority. If you want to use, if you want to do it 1 vote earlier, when, you have Lauren's extra vote, you could do it at 8 then, if you really wanted to. I think that this is probably a vote too early to be splitting off and burning people, because there's just too many things that can then change. Things can shift unintentionally for whatever reason. So I think it's too early to split here.
The reason why I don't think it is because we've had 3 votes in a row that are pretty straightforward healer votes. People get antsy in Survivor. They get a little case of big move itis, whether they should or not. But there is something to be said about, like, yeah, we've done 3 in a row. Someone is going to mix it up. Somebody is going to spin the chaos wheel. Might as well be you, because if you don't, somebody else will. You want to be smart about it, and it doesn't necessarily need to be big move itis, but somebody's going to get that, to catch that. So if you can break it off and make your own new alliance, a solid one ideally, and take control, you're probably going to have to do it again at some point, but better you do it than somebody else sometimes.
You know, what I will say is that if you're going to vote someone out, someone like JP is just a great pressure relief valve for exactly the phenomenon in psychology that you're talking about, Ryan. So it's like, all right, well, if we have to betray somebody, we might as well betray the NPC.
Yeah.
Like, you know, at least we're not taking a real player out of the D&D game, right? So, like, there's something to that. I don't think that was their intent, but it is kind of a funny way to look at it. And then it's also making sure that if you think that Chrissy and Ryan are on, like, the bottom of the power of the 7, that they're not scooping up Joe and Dr. Mike and making a move on them instead. So in that way, it is a proactive game move. So from that perspective, I am okay with it. Maybe a little early, but I'm good with it here. So good move.
Now, Mike and Joe, they kind of need JP. So I get they are desperate and they'll just be like, we'll do whatever you want. But like, gotta be like, well, why JP? Like, JP's not winning. Like, he's not a threat. I mean, I guess we can do that, but I'm just kind of surprised you wouldn't go after like someone who's playing.
Right.
That's probably the best they could do is if they tossed out like, why not Ryan or Chrissy?
And maybe they do.
Or Ben.
We'll never know.
We don't know.
But Joe is already playing as long as it's not me game, I will piss people off and do whatever I need to. So
is Mike. That's going to be essentially all Mike says the next like 4 episodes is just like, hey, all I have to do is lay low and eventually they'll turn on each other, right? And then he's just going to keep saying that over and over again.
I mean, he's wrong.
He's right. I don't know if it's a great strategy to win the game.
Correct. So yeah, we're gonna lose JP. So after this vote, I'm gonna put Mike and Joe squarely on the bottom as the 2 who can't win. I think at this point, the question is the other one Ryan or Chrissy, and that's a little question mark. But those are gonna be the bottom 4 after JP leaves here. I think pretty clearly. Best player, Josh. Who do you got?
I had Lauren. She brought these people together at the reward challenge. Got everyone to toss out the information that she had. And that's all fine and dandy. But I think that out of the 4, she had the most to gain from this situation. If you look at Devin and Ben and Ashley, they all had other alliances that could have brought them to the end of this game, honestly. Lauren, I don't think she did, other than being, just kind of riding coattails. Orchestrating this alliance, bringing everyone together and being in a core group of 4, I think that sets herself up. I don't want to say that it sets herself up the best out of them, but this is, the first move to even be able to win the game. When we talk about people who need to just kind of continuously make moves, starting at, 7, 8, 9 people left in the game, even if you're in a rough spot, you can still win the game. It's things like this.
Sure.
It's these types of moves that can get yourself in a position to actually win. So great on Lauren for that.
I'm going to go with Ben. He got into Lauren's alliance, but he also found an idle clue, found an idol, a little sus, but he still did it. And taking part of the double agent plan is a really good move. So I Ben.
I had Devin for really birthing the plan of the Ben double agent. I think that he's the person who maybe benefits the most from keeping the people on the bottom from rising up and overtaking either him or Ben, or trying to break up him and Ashley or whatever it might be. But I gave out honorable mentions to Ben for finding an idol. I gave out an honorable mention to Ashley for winning immunity when her other 3 closest alliance members all sat out for peanut butter and chocolate. So she had to rise to the occasion to give them options. And I gave an honorable mention to Lauren for her reward challenge pick. So basically, I just said all 4 of those people all had a fabulous episode, and it's a game of inches, but I just love Devin's move.
Yeah, it was very much like a 4-pronged plan.
Yeah,
and it worked.
And by the way, the other reason Devin over Ben was because if the not knowing something blows back on someone, it would blow back on Ben and not Devin, but doesn't matter.
For worst player, I have Chrissy. She and Ryan were left out. But JP was closer to Chrissy than Ryan, so it's a bigger loss for her. And Ryan still has an idol. So just mathematically, I give it to Chrissy. I will give it this honorable mention to Mike, though.
Yeah, I gave my worst player of the episode to Ryan because this was the episode where his idol information became public with basically everybody. So while I agree that JP was a little closer with Chrissy, the fact that Ryan's idol got outed at that reward for everyone to know about, I thought was worse for Ryan and worse for his game. And wrong side of the vote.
Yeah, it's between the 2 of them. Those are the 2 that I was, again, debating between. I think I lean a little bit more towards Ryan than Chrissy, just because this is where we see, the relationship with Devin just fall apart. Devin already knew this, but this is where, he really finds out. I get it. Chrissy's kind of the same way, but it just seems like it hurts more with
Sure.
Ryan. And one other note, and maybe it's because we, just watched season 49. There was a sea crate sighting.
Oh yeah. They did.
Out of nowhere, like you don't see that very often, just randomly. Like they'll see it, but like it was specifically focused on, and someone said the words, like sea crate. I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Is that the one that bit Jake?
We'll never know.
Be careful in Fiji, folks.
Get off my beach.
Part 2. I gotta say, Joe and Devin, both a little jerky post-tribal council. I expect that from Joe. Devin, I expect a little better from you. They're both a little bit like, I can't reveal my secrets, and they're a little jerky about it. It's like, you can be a gracious winner. Like, hey, that was the game. It was fun, but you don't have to be a jerk about it. Ryan, very graceful loser. He's pissed inside, but, he's like, hey, good job, guys. It's just the classic going back from tribal council. It sets the tone. Be gracious in whatever you do. It might feel good to like rub it in somebody's face or get all pissy with somebody, but are you trying to win or are you trying to feel good?
Yeah. Grateful in a loss, humble in a win.
You know what feels really good? Winning $1 million, I assume.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know.
I
for
wouldn't
sure.
know.
Ben is going to continue to play double agent, and his plan, the goal is to try and get Ryan to play the idol, manipulate him into playing it, which that's one way to do this. Ryan is going to try and pitch himself to Mike and basically say, like, I always wanted to work with you, Mike. And Mike's like, you never wanted to work with me. You've been trying to get me out. You had no interest in working with me.
You literally just wrote my name down.
He's not open to it at all. He should be. Because, again, Mike, I think, is in the bottom 2. It can't win at this point. And I think Ryan's either 3rd or 4th with Chrissy. Unclear. He needs Ryan to have a shot. He can't stick with Lauren, Devin, and Ashley. They'll all clean his clock. So Mike has to switch it up. So I know this probably feels good to be like, actually, you never wanted to work with me, but you need him.
Yeah, you can make your point. You can say, why would I do that? I tried how many times, and then you can come around at the end and be like, all right, we do need to work together though.
And if you want to talk about the psychology of just people and Survivor and surviving, this is why it's good for power players to be proactive in maybe taking out some people who are lower in the pecking order in their alliance and giving the people on the bottom some hope. This is something that we see in the real world all the time. Like you give them just enough, you give them a bit of a carrot to chase, and they're more than happy to chase the carrot, and then it's hard to get them off that path.
Yep.
And that's what we're seeing happen with Dr. Mike here. But by the way, Ryan Ulrich, bad on you for never talking strategy with Dr. Mike. Mm-hmm. Rewind for a second. Chrissy was the opposite of Ryan right after Tribal and was taking everything very personally and was very angry and upset. And that, I can appreciate someone wearing their heart on their sleeve, but it's not a good Survivor move.
Yeah. It's going to get worse for Chrissy on that front, too.
Yes, it will.
So you guys remember in the pre-merge, we learned that Chrissy had never had a strategy discussion up to that point with Rourke. She's going to do the exact same thing with Lauren. It turns out they have never talked strategy up to this point. Okay, a pattern is emerging and it's not good.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
She's going to try to now. It's just like, now in your hour of need, he come to me. Where were you this whole time? Not great, Chrissy. Not great.
It's not great. I want to try and shade this in with the good. We're going to get at Final Tribal Council people defending her for her social game, the fact that she was genuinely talking with everyone and learning things about them. Unfortunately, when you're playing a game with Survivor, you need to intersperse that with like, hey, we're also on this experience together. We're playing this game together. So you got to bring it home a little bit. There's somewhere in between, Aubrey starting a dialogue and this feeling very manufactured. And like, I'm literally only going to treat you as a person and not respect you as the player you also are. So hopefully that is a lesson that Chrissy can take into season 50, because we all know that she's competing on that.
Spoilers. Chrissy's going to win immunity. Probably saves herself.
Probably.
Ben, Devin, Ash, and Lauren, they decide they want Joe out. But they're going to tell Joe and Mike they're using Lauren's extra vote to split between Ryan and Ben because, again, they don't know Ben is actually in the alliance, which is so funny. But yeah, basically they're going to lie to Mike and Joe and say, hey, we're going to use Lauren's got this extra vote. We're going to use that. We're going to knock Ryan's idol out of the game, and Ben will be the backup if Ryan plays it. Okay, great plan. It's such a great plan that Lauren, Ashley, and Devin are like, should we just take out Ben instead? That is a really good idea.
Whoops. And I think even Chrissy suggests this to Ashley, and she's like, I don't want to listen to Chrissy, but, that's something to think about.
And this is where, starting to break off and play, break off from the 7 and, betray your number one ally without, communicating a little bit more, burning bridges. This is where that starts to get dicey.
Yes.
Is if you do, I'm not saying you can't do this. It might even be the right move. Who knows? If you do want to turn on someone, but then 1 vote later, turn on your new alliance member, you can only do that so many times. You can only do that so many times before either they turn on you and you're the next person to go, or you're heading straight to people just being pissed off at you and getting no votes at Final Tribal Council.
So I think a good rule of thumb when you make this betrayal, like, okay, you destroyed the 7, you blew it up. I say, and this is what they're going to do, kind of, because Mike and Joe aren't really in the alliance. They are pawns. They are being used. The core 4, they're going to stick together for another vote. And I think that's probably the right way to go, is try and get at least, when you build a new alliance, you want to do, I think, 2 votes together. You betray some people, you make your vote. Don't betray people again immediately on the next move. Next episode, I would wait at least 1 more before doing it again. Because if you're just stabbing people left and right, it's going to blow up in your face. So I like that they don't betray Ben here. That's something you consider for the next time for sure, but I'm glad that they don't do it here. I think that was a smart call on their part. I know it's very tempting. You've done one blind side and you got the rush of doing that. I'm sure it was really fun and you want to do it again, but you want to ease yourself into the next one. Don't get caught up in the bloodlust.
And I like it because I think that Ben would have been able to poison the jury at that point. Like, why would they bring me in on this and have me play double agent just to backstab me before I have a chance to reveal that I was one, which is genius in its own right, but he could poison the jury.
And then on the other note, I think after that, because we'd be down to 7 at that point, I think at that point, Joe, Mike, Christy, and Ryan teaming up, that is a horrible group of 4 that would do a lot of damage. And, that's a great final. I mean, that's how it should be. It should be the 4 weakest players teaming up against the 3 best. So I think that would just be way too easy of a thing to happen.
I'm just trying to remember numbers-wise in my head. Is this the last tribal council that Ben is vulnerable?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes, this is the last time Ben's going to be vulnerable.
So technically.
However, that is fluky because if they hadn't changed the rules for this season that nobody knew about, Ben would have gone home at 4. So fluke.
Yeah, no, but in hindsight, Ben wins the game.
in hindsight, Ben wins the game after this.
Correct.
But also, we should probably also talk about we can't judge the current castaways of this season, but if we're talking about what they should have done, we almost should talk about it as if they do know that final fire making exists.
But we can't because they don't.
I know, but if you're in, I'm saying if you're in this position.
So I think I understand what Josh is saying. It's let's just pretend for a second. So let's pretend for a second they know that it's Final Four fire making. I think it's still too early to make a move on Ben. He hasn't won individual immunity. He's not great at balancing. He has weaknesses in his physical game where he should be vulnerable as long as you babysit him on idle hunts. So I would say we're still too early to be worrying about forced fire making at 4. But at 8 and 7, we need to be thinking about Ben.
Yeah.
I agree.
He hasn't played any idols yet. There's no speculation that he has one. And again, this is the flukiest fluke of flukes. This is a bunch of BS is what this is, which we'll get into. But we're going to go to Tribal Council. Ryan's going to play his idol incorrectly. 4 votes for Joe. 2 votes for Ashley, 2 votes for Ryan, and Joe is so confident. And the fact that he gets blindsided here, I like Joe a lot. I love Joe this season. His arc is glorious and perfect, and I love that he gets blindsided here. It's really funny.
I think he even says, "I haven't been this confident at a tribal council since the beginning."
Beautiful.
Whoops. Famous last words. Great song.
Joe's interesting to me. Joe is someone who Maybe call it rare or whatever. I think I could see myself in a situation where I vote for Joe to win, because I really like Joe. I like Joe a lot. I think if I'd been on the jury and Joe had somehow made it there, I think there's a world where I vote for Joe, and I understand that most people would not vote for Joe.
Yeah, 0% I vote for Joe. No chance.
It would depend. But I enjoy Joe. Where was I going with this? I don't remember where I was going with this.
Just the edit dunks on Joe. It's fun to make fun of Joe.
It is like I do like Joe a lot. It is fun to watch him just get completely owned by the edit and just clowned on. It's great.
Excellent casting, but I want to go back to the pre-merge when Derek said they should have voted out Joe immediately because this is just too much of an X factor. I stand by it.
Bring him back.
No.
You guys don't want to see Joe again?
I mean, as much as I want to see Abby Maria and Venus Vafa and like...
So a lot?
I want one season...
0%?
I just want one season where everybody is a grenade to defuse and it just turns into, I don't know, an episode of Real Spouses of Beverly Hills.
It's just
You get the most unsatisfying winner of all time.
Yeah, Survivor Minesweeper.
Minesweeper. I love this idea. Oh my god, this is the greatest idea of all time. 20 insane people, one survivor.
And like half the advantages are just terrible. Like they're Devin advantages. That is not an advantage.
You have a Beware advantage where you open it up and it's an instant elimination. Like just all kinds of nonsense, just fodder for production, just production's playground, and just torture them.
So this is hilarious and I love it. What an excellent downfall for Joe. So, but now at this point, with Joe gone, I think the bottom three are Mike, Ryan, and Chrissy for who beats who in the rank downs, which is interesting because that's two of the final three.
I think you're right. I think in the coming episodes, Chrissy might boost her stock a little bit with physical game, but yeah, I mean, with everything we've seen, I have to agree.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ben, from here on out, I think Ben, Ashley, Devin, and Lauren clean all three of their clocks.
Yeah.
The only one I wasn't sure of was Ashley, but that's just because I don't think that it was giving us a whole lot with her. So, it was between Ashley. I wasn't actually, episode by episode. Maybe I should in the future, but I wasn't doing an episode by episode jank down or anything to keep track of this. But I would have been debating Chrissy versus Ashley, I think here.
Best player, Derek, who do you got?
Yeah, for the best, I have Devin, just because I really love the maneuverability. I think this was a good move to stick with it one more time, and I just like everything that he's doing so far. So I have got Devin.
I had Ben just for the execution of the spy strategy behind enemy lines. It's not easy. It's not easy to be able to completely act that way. He even mentioned it a couple of times, like, I have to remember not to, like, that I have to stay in this exact mindset and I can't be talking to these other guys too much and I need to not be too obvious about extracting information. So good on him for that execution.
Yeah, I agree with Josh. I had Ben for the double agent role. He got Ryan to play his idol and waste it, and then taking out his mortal enemy in Joe.
That's a good point. I forgot about him basically driving Ryan to play his idol. I know Devin was a part of it too, but I think Ben was a bigger key player, so I'm going to change mine to Ben. That's fair.
Okay, nice. Love it.
All right.
Josh, who do you have for worst?
It's hard. I'm going to give it to Ryan here because he wasted an idol, but I don't blame him for it. Like, I think it makes complete sense why you would play your idol in this situation. I'm still going to give it to him, though, just because you're in a really vulnerable spot and now you got no shield.
See, I went with Dr. Mike. He was really closed off to Ryan, wanting to make an alliance with him, and when he shouldn't have been. And then he got fooled so badly by Lauren, Ashley, and Devin, hilariously badly. And I do like Ryan's graciousness post-tribal council. Like that's something. He's trying. God bless him. I just think Mike just got the wool completely pulled over him.
Right. And I like the graciousness in defeat. I even like him playing his idol. I think this was a perfectly fine time for him to do it, given that he was fed no information and they were on the bottom.
He was fed bad information.
Yeah, he was fed bad information, which is worse than no information. I had Dr. Mike, I agree, because he was high and mighty. He was so happy to chase the carrot that had been dangled by the real players in the game that he didn't realize that the path forward is with Joe, is with Ryan, is with Chrissy. Mm-hmm. You have to find something to make this work. And I mean, I'd give it to Joe because he was kind of a prick about it, but Joe went home.
Yeah,
So
Joe's not eligible.
He got dunked on hard enough. He doesn't need to be another worst player of the episode for us.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, okay. I'll switch to Mike.
Wow.
I love it.
All right, so Ryan
I was kind of looking for a reason not to pick Ryan, just because it's like it just felt kind of wrong. So yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that.
Yeah, we got him.
I'm doing good. Guys.
Yeah, Ryan's got 2 for 2 conversions on that one. That's okay. Ryan wins that episode.
Sure.
Woo! Best player of the podcast. Episode 11, not going to roll over and die. Ben being a double agent is revealed, which causes a big fight between Chrissy and Ben. Yes, this probably sucks to learn that you were being played. So I'm less mad at Chrissy for being upset at Ben because Ben is a jerk about it. Mm-hmm. And Chrissy can, she's like, so wait, what was going on? Can you clarify this a little bit for me? Because aren't we like friends like outside of the alliance part? And Ben is a jerk about it. He really is. For no real reason I can ascertain. I have heard Chrissy could be tough to live with. So is this him just lashing out because he was just sick of it? But Ben blows this because coming out of the double agent reveal that could be brilliant. People are gonna be mad. You could just be like, it was a fun strategy we decided to try. So yeah, I know you got burned, but it's a game.
Well, and you have the perfect out. Ryan has an idol. It wasn't, hey, I was playing double agent just to, get information and bamboozle you guys. No, like I was playing double agent because we had that connection, but I made this new alliance and Ryan still had the idol. I needed to know if he was going to play it, who he was going to play it for, if he did play it. So like this was just a one tribal thing. I'm sorry if you're hurt by it, but like this is just something that like we felt like needed to happen. I feel like that'd be for any, normal Survivor player. They might be a little bit, hurt by it, but that's just because they're blindsided. You don't have to, rub their face in it.
Yeah, and I think a big part of it is how were they treating Chrissy before she won immunity? If she truly did win immunity and definitively save herself from going home, then maybe there's more culpability that needs to be copped to by what they were going to do. But Ben could also say, you and Ryan are still here. We voted out an NPC and we voted out Joe. Like, honestly, there's barely harm, barely foul, all things considered. Welcome back to the game.
Other than 2 people who are easily, beatable are now no longer an option.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, everyone's playing their own game. Like, you're not getting through spot free unless you're Kim Spradlin. And not everyone is Kim Spradlin.
You are. Reward challenge, it's the family visit, and it's the dumbest challenge of all time where it's just a rock draw, basically.
It's so dumb.
Like, why bother?
It's like they forgot what they were going to do, or like it was going to be in the water, but the water was too choppy that day or something.
No, I think Jeff Probst had heard, like, you shouldn't win the family visit, and he's like, oh, this way they can't avoid it. It's pure luck, which, like, okay.
That's absolutely what this was.
You could do better than this.
Like, at least try.
At least make a giant roulette wheel made of coconut and bamboo. Like, come on, this is pathetic.
I don't know why. Just the way you said this is pathetic.
Not gonna be the last time that happens here.
Jeff Probst, put me on Survivor.
Big fan of the podcast.
Hire Ryan.
Put Ryan on Survivor.
Dream team.
Here's what I want to happen. I want to get on like Survivor 52, win, and then do such a good job that the people above Probst are like, you should be the new host when Probst retires. Be like, yes, I should, and take Jeff's spot.
Ryan, I don't think you would be a good host.
Maybe not.
I think you would be a good producer.
Yes.
Perhaps.
Not a host.
Perhaps. But man, oh man, would that be satisfying?
No,
sure it'd be satisfying.
If any of the Castaway Consultants was going to be a new host, it would have to be Josh.
Because he's like, he can actually be neutral.
I think he can be prying and neutral, and also sometimes he doesn't understand the game.
Okay, Mr. Whatever the heck, like, opinion you had earlier.
I didn't say that that's a reason that I could be the host or couldn't be. Like, I also don't understand the game sometimes, but I think you would be able to ask those probing questions, probsting questions, much better than I could. Whereas, like, Ryan, too much of a game bot, I think, to be an effective host. I think that would actually be like Malcolm Freeberg's biggest issue as a host, is that, like, he might know and understand the game too well. He'd be like, oh, well, this is just inferred. Whereas Jeff is like, no, I need to talk about this.
No, I don't think that's my biggest problem with being the host, is being too game bait. I think if I don't like something or someone, that's hard for me to hide.
Another great reason that Josh would be better at host than both of us.
Exactly. Josh.
Ooh, I don't know about that. Well,
Josh can appear to be neutral. I don't know if I can. I'm not very good at it.
Josh can put up the facade of neutrality.
Yeah. And that is a exhausting thing.
Actually, you know what I would do? I would actually, in those situations, I would continue asking the people questions who I dislike in ways that would make them look dumber, because I want to make them look bad, but I want it to be their fault.
That's fair.
See, another great... Everything I've tried to say here, Josh, is supposed to be a compliment.
Thank you. So if I'm the host, Ryan's the executive producer. What are you, Derek?
The winner.
Yeah, okay.
Rigged.
And excuse me, regular producer, executive producer just as money mostly.
Yeah. You can be a producer.
Being a producer on Survivor would be like the best.
You know what? Can I do casting? I think that'd be fun.
Sure.
I think that'd be fun.
Sure.
I'll just help with casting.
That'd be fun too.
Jesse, hire me. That'd be great. I think Jesse is their current casting director.
Gotcha. I thought like you're talking to Jesse Lopez.
No. I can't remember casting Jesse's last name right now, but he can hire me. That'd be great.
Chrissy's gonna win the family visit. Technically, lottery the family visit. She brings Ryan, Mike, and Ashley to go with. And it tries to get Ashley to flip on Ben. And Ben not getting his loved one's visit is very karma. Like, you were a real jerk to Chrissy, and now, you're not getting your family. Ben got what he deserved on that one.
He had to lie in the bed that he made.
Yeah. Lauren is going to find the idol clue with Devin and Ben. She is half of an idol. The other half is hidden at the immunity challenge. Technically. Look, I love the idol hidden at the challenge thing, but this one was kind of easy.
This one was dumb.
Yeah, so this is what I was talking about. I'm like, oh, there's going to be another chance to say, like, essentially do better, producers. The family visit reward challenge, coupled with a seashell sitting right in front of your platform that could literally be anything and not give away your position at all. Like, this was some of the laziest production I think I've ever seen from Survivor. Like, if you're gonna narrow it down to one specific episode, this might be the laziest episode of Survivor ever, as far as the production goes.
I've never thought about that before, but I think you're right.
And you know what's funny? I don't remember if it's in this episode or next, but Ben is going to spill the beans about Lauren's idol here eventually, and the way he does it is like, you know, that shell that Lauren picked up at the immunity challenge, that's the other half of an idol. I'm like, why the heck would anybody have noticed that?
Like, Lauren, she has it out in the open, she just has it resting on her knee because it's like, this could just be a shell. Like she doesn't hide it in her pocket or anything.
Like, did she pick it up and be like, hey, I like this shell, I think I'll keep it?
Literally no one would think anything about it.
Butterflies visiting our dead relatives, you know, like
look, just remember when they had to swim like to like 4 different islands in Micronesia to get an idol? Like, I remember.
Remember when Parvati was running out of time because the tide was coming in? I remember.
Yeah, it's like, is this supposed to be hard? But Lauren gets the idol. Ashley wins immunity. So Ashley, Lauren, and Devin all go off together. And Ben's like, well, why are they going anywhere without? We're not doing the double agent thing anymore. What's going on? Horrible. Ben follows them, and they are discussing Ben or Chrissy, and Ben doesn't overhear like his name or anything like that. And they do seem to land on Chrissy, but Ben is absolutely right to be suspicious. This was horrible on their part. Wow.
Well, and Ben should always, you know, just be aware in general, because ever since there were 9 people left in the game, it was talked about, you know, from Joe is saying like, you know, Ben's the biggest threat and it's King Ben. So, you know, regardless of what alliance he is in or how safe he might feel at the time, he should always be aware of people turning on him.
True.
So as alliance members, you should always be thinking, you know, what could Ben be thinking right now as the biggest threat in the game? Oh, well, you know, we should include him in all of our conversations and be ultra careful if we are even considering blindsiding him.
Yep. So Ben is going to go and try and get Dr. Mike, Chrissy, and Ryan on board on a plan to take out Lauren instead. He tells them about her idol and her extra vote. Says, hey, she's too dangerous to be left alive. Unfortunately, Chrissy is still royally pissed at Ben and very non-committal to. She barely even hears him out. She does, but she's like not interested in working with him, which is like, dude, you gotta check this at the door. Do you want to win or not?
Yeah, Chrissy's almost playing way too emotionally, and I'm not saying she doesn't have a right to be angry, but you can't let that prevent you from taking a meaningful step in the game.
Correct. Mike decides to tell Devin and Ashley that Ben is targeting Lauren and blow up Ben's spot, which I don't mind, because Mike, he's been at the bottom. Why not get both sides of the Majority Alliance pissed at each other and just try and blow it up? Okay.
I mean, at least you could get credit for, planting the dynamite, because, Mike needs anything, and he obviously needs to go to the end with Chrissy and Ryan at this point, maybe Lauren, depending on how high he can rise his stock. But step one is get everyone mad at each other.
Yep. Great strategy. Great strategies to get everyone mad at each other. So this is probably Mike's shining moment in the game. So Lauren is filled in about this, and so she wants to rebuild some trust with Mike and get him on board with their group. So she gives Mike half of the idol for some reason. And even Mike is just like, but why? This is the dumbest thing you ever could have done.
That was weird.
That was a move.
That was weird.
Which is rich coming from Dr. Mike.
It is rich, but he's right.
No, he's right. It's just the irony.
It is. That was weird. So Tribal Council is actually we're going to get a rare live tribal. It actually is going to happen here. Everyone starts calling each other out. It's very hilarious. Mike is going to reveal that Lauren gave him half the idol, and he is going to toss it in the fire. Now, people have said, like, why didn't Lauren just reach in and pull it out of the fire? She could have, but it wouldn't have counted for her. That is Mike's half the idol. It is in his possession. He has to declare, I am transferring it. So if he is burning it and destroying it, that's his right. Lauren cannot take it. That would just be a shell. So that's the answer. That is in possession of Mike, and you can't transfer advantages and idols and whatnot in the game without consent from both sides. If it even is a transferable advantage. We have one that from Game Changers, we had the one that wasn't actually transferable. So that's the answer.
But let's stop and talk about whether or not this is actually a good move for Dr. Mike.
I don't mind it for Dr. Mike. Honestly, like I said, he has to do something. This is a flashy move in front of the jury that is going to impress people.
It's flashy, but Lauren is one of the few people you have half a hope of beating. Why are you pissing her off?
I don't think he does. Lauren was really well liked.
I understand she's well liked, but like if you're Dr. Mike, you don't want to necessarily think like Ryan and Chrissy or bust. It's like Ryan and Chrissy, that's plan A, and that might be the case. But Lauren would be the next one.
Like, you're right, but it also should be it's Ryan and Chrissy or bust. That's what he should be thinking.
I'm just saying it's interesting to scorn the one person who trusted you with hardware. That, like, I don't hate it because of him being at the bottom, but I don't think I would have done this.
Mike needs the game to blow up. And this is just some more dynamite. Just another stick of dynamite to toss in the fire.
It depends how much the jury hates the Alliance in power, and I don't know that they hate them enough for this to actually be meaningful.
I don't know if they hate them, but I think they want to see it blow up.
I can't help but think this move is adjacent to someone giving you their idol for a tribal council and then you refusing to give it back, which is something that we have heavily criticized in the past when it's come up. Like, you have to give it back. If you don't, you lose the game.
Lauren giving Mike that half the idol was so ill-conceived and poorly thought out and badly executed that I don't like. That was so dumb. That was so dumb, and you have no one to blame but yourself. And to Lauren's credit, she doesn't blame anyone but herself.
Yeah, she does carry the blame. I will admit that.
I think it was a bad move for him to toss it in the fire, and not because I think that he can beat Lauren or anything, but just because of his spot in the game. I think that he needs alliance members. He's got no one. Like, he's just being dragged along, and like I mentioned a couple episodes ago, he's essentially just hoping that people turn on each other and he lasts long enough to make it to the end, because he thinks that all I have to do is make it to the end and I win. He says it multiple times, so we know that is his thought process.
Correct.
It's incorrect, I'm pretty sure, but I think what he could do is use this just as a way to bond with Lauren and just get some sort of voting block together to make moves to get to the end. And, eventually if you blindside Lauren, then sure, whatever. But one flashy move of tossing half an idol into the fire while you have no agency about who's going home in that vote, I don't think really means anything. And it's going to be over after that for you. So I think you need to do something with this to build into trying to get some sort of momentum into the end of the game.
He needs one of Devin, Ashley, and Lauren to go home to break up that trio. That's where Mike's best route is right now. And this is why I don't mind the idol going home. Now, it's what happens next that I'll have problems with. But throwing the idol in the fire, I don't mind, because that someone from that side needs to go for Mike. So that goes into the fire. So the live tribal begins. Ben was the target, Lauren is the target, and people are debating between which one should go. Everyone decides on Ben ultimately because he's causing too many problems. But Ben has an idol, so he plays it. It is 6 votes for Ben. For the first time ever, 1 vote takes somebody out. Lauren is eliminated with 1 vote. And if she had kept the idol, man, what would have happened next?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Mike.
Honestly, yeah, maybe Mike, because I just don't see, but then again, maybe at that point, Chrissy commits to, or at least temporarily commits and joins with Ryan and Ben and Mike. It takes out like an Ashley or a Devin.
Sure.
I could see that too. That would have been nuts. But yeah, Lauren Rose really screwed up that one. But I do think going after Ben in the first place was wrong for Ryan, Mike, and Chrissy. This is mostly on Chrissy, but they should have gotten together and taken out a Lauren or Devin or an Ashley, one of them. You have, Lauren's half the idol away from her. This is the time that you can get rid of her, no problem. Just breaking that trio up, I think, is the most important for those 4. So that's what should have happened. So I don't think Ben should have been the target. It should have been Lauren, Devin, or Ashley.
I didn't mind anybody of the 4 on top being targeted. So taking the shot at Ben is perfectly acceptable in my opinion.
Well, he's not in the 4 anymore.
No, but like the previous vote he was, and the previous vote he was, and they found out that he was, but he was, technically out of it. So I'm just saying, like, as long as it's Ben, Devin, Ashley, or Lauren that gets the votes, I'm okay with it.
Well, the problem with that is that still leaves that tight 3 together in the game versus a not tight 3.
Sure.
So with all this chaos happening, my point is one of that tight trio needs to go. Use Ben. Don't send him out.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I still don't mind it being Ben because he's number 1 threat to win the game at this point, and it's time for them to start going.
Lauren's extra vote hasn't been used yet, right?
She went home with it in her pocket.
I think she said she left it at camp or something like that.
Yes, she did leave it at camp.
So yeah, so with the extra vote, that I think that more it should be Lauren. Lauren should be the target. Ben shouldn't have had to play his idol. That's what should have happened.
And at the very least, if you are going to target Ben, throw a hinky mode out there. Someone needs to. And I know it's a live tribal, so it can be really confusing. Designate one person to toss a vote on Mike or something.
Points to Devin and a teaser for the future. He's gonna learn from past events on this. Mm-hmm. So good on Devin for taking notes.
For best player, I'm going to give mine to Ben. Yeah, the game kind of fell apart around him, but they were discussing betraying him. He's right. They weren't necessarily going to do it in this episode, but they were sneaking off to have a conversation about possibly betraying him. So he was spying on his allies, which was right. He did try to make peace with Chrissy. He told Mike, Chrissy, and Ryan about Lauren's extra vote and idol to try and blow it up. He did correctly play his ally. He shouldn't have needed to, but he did it correctly. He took out Lauren. I'm giving it to Ben.
Yeah, I have the strongest honorable mention to Ben. I gave it to Devin, and the reason I gave it to Devin is actually for something we didn't mention. And most obviously is I like taking the shot at Ben here. I think it's an okay time. I get your point mathematically, especially with Lauren's extra vote, but I don't mind getting rid of the clear front runner who's playing a very loud game and one very visible to the jury. The other thing Devin did that I liked is he stepped down from immunity and gave it to Ashley. And it's just this subtle thing where, if Ashley ends up being on the jury, I can see her voting for Devin because she just has this warmth toward him. And he's making these good social moves that also align with what they're trying to get done strategically. So I thought going for Ben was good. An idol got flushed. Lauren went home. She had hardware, was in his alliance, but they still have power, still has options. I gave it to Devin.
I don't think you can give it to Devin because he was part of that Ashley and Lauren trio who went off without Ben very suspiciously and caused the game to fall apart. For that move alone, I don't think you can give it to any of those 3. Obviously, Lauren's not eligible.
Let's have Josh go. I'll consider changing to Ben. I'll consider it.
I think it's pretty easily Ben. It's the most obvious idol play of all time, but at least, you still got to give him credit for it. All the votes went against him, but he was able to suss out this group of three turning on him this quickly without actually hearing his name. I think it'd be maybe a little bit different if it was super obvious and he heard them literally say, "Hey, we need to take out Ben." But he just kind of sees them and gets a bad vibe and reads that situation exactly correctly. So I'm going to give him a lot of credit for that.
I'm changing it to Ben, but I'm remembering why I didn't, because so Ben, here's your trophy, but I'm going to read you your rights now. You were a jerk to Chrissy in the beginning of this episode. You have done so poorly with threat management to this point that now your alliance wants to vote you out, despite the fact that you'd be a useful number for them. And again, you're just not... You're playing a very loud, clunky game. So that was where my mind was at. And this threat management issue is coming home to roost a little bit now because you're being targeted when mathematically you shouldn't be. So I'll give it to him reluctantly because, yeah, he saved himself. It's a correct idle play. Good for you on that, but you're in a bad position now because of you. Sure. So that, I'm reading him his rights, but I will change it. Okay. But I'm glad that I remembered specifically why I didn't want to give it to him.
Derek, who do you have for worst player?
Dr. Mike. I had Dr. Mike because I thought that burning the shell was a bad idea. He needs more people in the game. And while I understand trying to sow some chaos, I was so irritated with what he did in front of the jury with burning the idol that I'm like, what makes you think that makes you more likely to win? That's like, I just didn't understand it. So I don't mind him trying to blow up Lauren's spot, but ultimately they ended up targeting Ben anyway. So it was all for nothing on paper.
Yeah, I wish we could give it to Lauren.
It would be Lauren if she had survived.
Yeah.
As is often the case.
I don't think there's anyone else here that's worthy enough of it other than Mike. He had mostly an okay episode if it wasn't for throwing the idol in the fire. I know Ryan disagrees with that move. I just think that it was such a missed opportunity to where he sits in the game right now. There's this olive branch that's going out to you. Regardless of if that was a dumb move by Lauren, you now have half that idol in your possession and you could do something with it. I think it leads back to him just not being self-aware enough about where he stands in the game. He still thinks that if he makes it to the end, he wins. So this big flashy move of tossing it in the fire, I think, is perfectly fine for where his headspace is at right now. Unfortunately, he has a terrible read on where he stands in this game, and this is just showing all of that. So I am going to give it to Mike. I was not sure going in. I had him as a maybe, but I think that cemented it.
I'm not going to go with Dr. Mike because I like the idol burning. It's the follow-up that I don't like. Chrissy's my pick. Yeah, she got into it with Ben, and yeah, she's more justified than Ben is, but it still wasn't good. And then later, shutting down working with him for strictly personal reasons is not good. She needed him. She's in a bad spot. And then again, she should have been targeting Lauren, not Ben. So Chrissy's my pick.
If it helps, Chrissy was the other one I was debating with just because of her interaction, just shutting down Ben. Like, come on, Chrissy.
To me, someone in the top four went home. That's good for Chrissy and Ryan as a duo, still together. So I'm not giving it to Chrissy. But your points are made.
Someone went home in the top four, but it had nothing to do with her.
Yes.
Ben played the idol.
So that doesn't make her worst player. Like, and she was in on the vote, and he saved himself with an idol. Like, no, I'm not giving it to Chrissy.
I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying your reasoning that you just stated is flawed.
Why?
Okay, so you just said because one of the people in the top four went home.
Yes.
You're not going to give her worst player?
Yes, because the person who went home ultimately helps her.
Okay. But she had nothing to do with that.
So she doesn't win best player.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's all I'm saying.
I get the logic. The logic can only contribute if you're considering it for best. Yeah, and I see where you're coming from.
Episode 12, The Survivor Devil. Ben's going next. Everyone's just like, we're done with Ben. He's got to go. Fair.
Yep.
Now it's fair.
And we don't even have to pay attention to him either.
Yep. It's just a done deal. It's not like there's idols in the game or anything like that. Ben's going to wake up first thing in the morning and he's going to go idol hunting. We're going to see Chrissy and Mike wake up and just be like, yeah, I think Ben's idol hunting. So you're going to do something about that, or are we just going to sit here? Oh, we're just going to sit here.
Just going to sit here.
One of the reasons Ben winning pisses me off The one thing that doesn't bother me as much with the possible suspiciousness of the idols is Ben at least put the work in, and everyone else sucked.
That was the one very noticeable thing to me this time around that, I mean, you don't really think about it when you're watching it live or for the first time just because you don't know what the result's going to be. But just having all the information in hindsight changed a lot about how I view this season and how I view Ben as a winner and also how I view the other people as losers. This is just dumb. There's no reason why we should be here right now and letting Ben go off to hunt idols as much as we are. And we're just starting. Like this is just the beginning, folks. So it's going to get much worse.
Yep. Devin and Chrissy, they're going to win a reward, and they bring Ryan with. They're going to make a final 3 deal, which seems very real by all accounts. Mike is going to tell Ben to his face that he wants him out. Not great. And again, I know it's true. Like, Ben is the biggest threat. And yes, you can all be in complete agreement that you want a person, threat number 1, out. But you don't want to be the person who says that to their face, because now Ben finds an idol. What's to stop him from playing it and knocking you out of the game? He's like, who is the person who's least likely to work with me? Dr. Mike. He said it to my face. It's that simple. I know you can close this door, but again, if the door is closed, why should they keep you in the game if they find some sort of power? Bad.
Agreed on all fronts.
Ashley pretty closed off them as well. Mike is worse, but yeah, it's just not good on either one of them. And again, he goes idol hunting, and they are just completely unconcerned. Like, somebody at one point says, I don't think there's another idol in the game. Why? What on earth has given you any reason to suspect that? Ben played one, so one goes back in the game. Have you seen Survivor? Any of you?
And there's at least one, because Ryan played his idol too. There's a chance that there's 2 idols out there.
Could be.
Now, I'm not saying that's likely. But there's usually one idol out there to find if Final 5 has not passed.
Mike burned one. Like, it's just insanity. Chrissy's going to win immunity. Ben is going to go idol hunting, and again, nobody follows him. And he's the target. Babysit him. I know it's a lot of hard work, but Andrea did it. She knocked Malcolm out of Caramoan by doing that.
This is just laziness.
It's lazy.
It's not even bad gameplay. It's laziness. And they're going to double and triple down on this. You know, we're going to get this spoiler. We're going to get this next episode as well. And then we're going to get it in the reunion show or in Final Tribal Council, basically just backing up, just like, you know, we can't be with him 24 hours of the day. Yeah, you can, actually.
Literally.
You 100% can. When there's 4 people or 5 people, take shifts. I don't care. You don't have to all be following him around at all times of the day. You can switch off if you really want to take a nap and be lazy. This is just, this was, I think, the most frustrating part of this entire season. Honestly, it rivals surprise Final Four fire making. No. It doesn't beat it. It doesn't beat it, but it rivals it with as frustrating as that.
That's fair. Yeah, the only time a player really can truly, like, forcibly kind of be away from the other players is during, like, confessionals, because they spend one of the days of production interviewing every player. They sit them down, and so you go off. They're on a walk, and then the producers interview them and ask a bunch of questions. But you just like wait not too far away for them to be done, and then you're good. And again, yeah, you know, you'll have to take your turn at doing confessionals too. But that's when you just have like Ryan go do it. Yeah. So you guys are 100% right. This is just unforgivable on everybody besides Ben. So the others, Devin, Chrissy, Ryan, and Ashley, they're going to agree to split on Mike just in case. Okay, but like this, you could just babysit Ben and make sure. Chrissy actually wants Ashley out, but nobody else is on board with that plan. And Ashley is a bigger threat than Dr. Mike, so Chrissy does have a point. But Ben is going to find a clue. The idol is under the shelter. Well, that's always fun. I always like that. Ben is going to go for it, but we don't see him get it, which means he's going to get it and play it at Tribal Council. But, you know, we got to have a little fun with the edit. At Tribal Council, Devin is going to declare that Ben is going home. And Ben lets that, like, a little bit of wanting to shut down Devin's ego gets him a little bit, and he just whips out the idol. Like, no, I'm not. Which, you could do that and then not play it, which I think Devin is going to rightly suss out. Like, that could be what happens. Devin says, just because you have the idol doesn't mean you'll play it. So Ben plays this early, which is another really controversial move. Mm-hmm. Ben is going to walk up to Jeff and just hand it to him and be like, I'm playing this now. So logically, the logic Jeff is going to spit out to us is that, okay, I mean, you could still vote for him, but they won't count because I have it. And this may have been against the rules. the official writing of the rules. And some people give Jeff like a little bit of slack here, saying like, I think he was just super caught off guard, which I believe that. I 100% believe that he was caught off guard by this. So yeah, the question here is, what do you guys think about this? On like, should Ben have been allowed to do this?
The answer to me is very clearly no, and I think there's a reason that in New Era Survivor, you get to the bottom and it says the idol must be played after the votes have been cast, but before they have been read. I don't know if that was always there on the paperwork, but it needs to be there from now on. Jeff, and by the way, I'm one of the Jeff defenders on this. I think that anyone can make a mistake live, and they don't have referees there with, eyes in New York, to make my third NFL reference. We have the big game this weekend, based on when we're recording this. But no, he should not have been allowed to play it. Jeff should say, and actually Jeff should be like, this is certainly something that Ben handed to me. I have to give it back to you. If you'd like to play it, you have to wait until the votes have been cast. Ben breaks Survivor for a second here. And it's undeniable in my mind, because now these others are forced to kind of cannibalize themselves in an effort not to waste their votes. It would have never been a wasted vote if the idol had been played at the appropriate time, because it's a big deal. Like, okay, well, now we have to cannibalize ourselves now, instead of Ben getting to knock one of us out or someone forcing a hinky vote to save themselves. It's forcing like instant cannibalization. So I don't like that it happened. I don't blame Jeff, but it was breaking Survivor and it was against the rules.
Yeah, I suppose. Only because of what you said with it, now when they read it, you hear it, you pretty clearly hear after the votes are cast, but before the votes are read, you can play this. So by definition, I feel like you should play by how the rules are written. Again, I'm not sure if that's how it was with this one. I thought it was perfectly fine in the moment. I didn't really think a whole lot of it. I thought it was dumb of Ben, just because I think that, you could pick and choose who you want to go home. And maybe there'd be a little bit more reason to it. Or maybe you can, weasel your way out of it and convince people to vote with you and keep the idol. So I thought it was a little reckless to do this on his part. But as far as accepting it, just because there's not really any precedent, I was okay with it.
Yeah, I'm not going to get too bent out of shape about this one. It was interesting at the very least. And so, yeah, it could have been a mistake. It could have been a rule break, and they fixed it, so that won't happen again in the future. That's about all you can ask someone to do. And we're human. So there's plenty of things to get bent out of shape here. This was, at least, at the very least, it was spur of the moment. So, whatever. This one doesn't bother me. Like,
and really entertaining,
really at all, and it was interesting. So yeah, so technically, yeah, he shouldn't have been allowed to do it, but whatever. Now Ben's thought process, I think what he was thinking is like, okay, if I just knock somebody else off again, that just gets me through another round of vote. If I like force it, I can at least be part of the conversation, maybe get a working relationship going with someone. I think Ben is past that point, but I think that was his thought process. He's going to suggest Dr. Mike. And there must have been more discussion, because it's going to be 5 votes for Ashley and 1 vote for Mike.
It's like, oh, okay.
Which Ashley definitely a bigger threat than Mike.
It seemed like everyone, it was just like honest, like just from follow-ups the next day, it sounded like it was much more just like, I want to make it through this tribal. This is a chaotic tribal, something that probably has never happened before, and maybe shouldn't happen. I'm just lucky to be alive. So if it's Ashley that goes home, great. Who cares? It really just seemed like that was the mindset. Not saying that was right, but like you said, she's more of a threat than Mike.
Yeah, I think this is actually good for Mike, Ben, Chrissy, and Ryan. Taking Ashley out, I think, is good for all other games. And then at that point, Devin and Ashley are very close, and Ashley's going to be pissed that Devin betrayed her. But Devin doesn't have much of a choice but to jump on, because Ashley's going, it seems. So,
and in theory, that should be a free vote for you if you make it to Final Tribal Council. You would think that she wouldn't hold it against you just because you'd be outnumbered, but who knows?
But she votes for Chrissy. But Devin wasn't there.
Devin wasn't there.
So
we'll never know. Ashley seemed pissed.
I think she's like, okay, whatever.
That was dumb.
Well, Ashley was also pissed about the reward challenge when it was the right move.
Yeah.
Which we didn't really mention, like, because I did want to,
Yeah.
just briefly say, like, she was pissed off about not being chosen to go on reward. And this is, the fault of everyone in her alliance for not having this conversation beforehand, but it was the right move to leave you behind. Sorry. I know it doesn't seem fair, but
Yeah, Devin not taking, like, you guys are solid. One of you be on the reward, the other one goes back to camp. And yeah, that's how it should be. Ashley, I don't think is someone who has, like, a great mind for the game. She's, like, a fine player, but I don't think she's, like, fully... Well, she's not a super fan, I don't think. Best player, Derek, who do you got?
Oh, it's Ben for saving himself. And then I'm also giving him credit for breaking Survivor and pulling a fast one on production. Players always get credit from me for that. Even when we talk about sneaking into production camp and stealing food, like, that stuff is hilarious to me because you're putting them on a show called Survivor and then telling them that there are, rules. Like, no, we're starving out here. So, Weasel Woo stealing food from production camp, Ben breaking Survivor in front of everyone. Like, I can appreciate this. So it's best to Ben, and it's not even close.
My coworker, also named Ben, funnily enough, his joke is always like, just bring a gun on Survivor and shoot everyone, and then you win.
That's how Frank from It's Always Sunny would win. Yeah, I think we've talked about this before. Well,
I think
you
in
told
the
me it was
pre-merge we
Survivor.
did.
Yep.
So I started blasting.
Well, so anyway. Yeah, I also had Ben. Honestly, it didn't really matter whatever he did because everyone else disqualified themselves for not babysitting him. So he could have not found an idol and just lucked his way into making it through. As long as he was still in the game, he was winning best player.
Yeah, it's Ben. Worst player, Josh, who do you got?
Gosh, can I give it to everyone? Like four-way tie because they're all just so bad.
You can give everyone a dishonorable mention.
Everyone gets a dishonorable mention.
Okay.
I'm going to give it to Chrissy because I thought that she was just... I don't know what it is about Chrissy. Man, do I get into it? No, I don't get into it now.
It's coming.
Wait. Chrissy was the worst out of everyone with how, I don't know if she just has too much pride, where once she makes a decision on something, she just needs to stick with it. So if she made a decision about, oh no, we don't need to follow Ben around, she's going to stick with that opinion. Oh, we didn't, you can't always be like following Ben around. We can't follow him around 24 hours a day. She's going to keep saying that and, convince herself that it's the correct answer because she can't be wrong. So I'm going to give it to Chrissy here for that and, probably several other things.
So, dishonorable mentions to all. Ryan, Chrissy, and Devin made a Final 3 alliance. So that kind of brings them above Dr. Mike for me. And Dr. Mike was vocally against Ben to his face and is very lucky he was not the one knocked out here. So I have Dr. Mike.
I also gave it to Chrissy, not to Dr. Mike, and I did it specifically because of the bad strategic gameplay where I felt like she was the one who was most aware that they should be following Ben around and they're not. I didn't like the way that she was talking about Ashley to her alliance members, and I felt like she had more bad social gameplay this episode. Yes, I think making that Final 3 alliance that for all intents and purposes, I think was real.
Yeah.
And I think that Ryan and Chrissy might have been delusional enough to think that they could beat Devin.
Yeah.
Chrissy, that's a bad Final 3 for you, So that's another reason I'm just like, that you should want to be with Ryan and Dr. Mike. That's a bad Final 3. It's a good Final 3 because it'll get you further as long as Devin goes home at 4, I guess. So I gave it to Chrissy, and it's because I'm seeing compounding bad social gameplay.
Can't fight ya.
You're not gonna climb up on that hill and plant a flag.
I've been known to do it, but not this time.
Yeah, you're not. Ryan's got no flags to plant today.
We know I love doing it, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah, not for Chrissy anyway.
No.
Not today.
All right, finale time. $1 Million Night. Ben immediately goes idol hunting, and nobody is concerned. What are we doing? Like I said, this is a bottom 10 episode of Survivor for me. And honestly, parts of the final 5 are pretty fun. That is frustrating. And then at final 4 and on just pissed me off.
Yeah, everyone just goes to bed. Meanwhile, Ben goes off and they're like, he's probably hunting for idols. And again, repeat of last episode. I think Mike was the one this time who basically said, like, are there even idols still in the game? Like,
yes. Production loves idols.
You must be new here, which is very strange since this is your dream to be on this show, Mike and Chrissy. Both of you have said that multiple times.
Ryan, too.
What would your 10-year-old tell you to do? Go find the idol. It's just ridiculous.
Hey, listen to your 10-year-old's advice at the worst possible time and ignore it at the best possible time.
Horrible.
Oh, no,
Dr. Mike.
I never thought about that as being like the final nail in his coffin, is not going and finding the idol like his 10-year-old told him to do.
You were so gung-ho on day one. What happened, Dr. Mike? So Ben looks all night, and at dawn, he's finally going to be done, and he's going to go to sleep. And possibly, I've heard this from contestants, that Ben sometimes slept by the raft because he didn't want to be by the fire because it would pop sometimes. And written on the raft is a sign that says dig here, and Ben finds the idol. So again, this is another suspicious one. Like, did you hide it in a place where Ben is known to hang out more than the others?
It's not helping the cause. It's not. And points, points to the contrary, because I don't want to be full tinfoil hat on all of this. Later on in the finale, we will hear Chrissy and Ben make up and say like, oh, well, I miss sleeping next to you. I miss sleeping next to you, blah, blah, blah. So I don't think this is an all the time thing. But again, there were rumblings around the time of the season airing that Ben spent a lot of time hanging out in the raft, or hanging out by the dinghy, or sometimes even sleeping in it or beside it. Ben, big fan of the podcast. I'm sure you're big fans of us by now. Let us know, or don't.
Violate that NDA.
Yeah, violate the NDA and let us know if you spent any additional time in that raft as compared to the others. We'll never know.
But again, to his credit, Ben looked all night and nobody did anything.
And that is where, like, you gotta respect the hustle, if nothing else. Like, okay, sure, maybe you hid it under his bed, but he didn't find it at the beginning of the night. Like, he found it at the last dawn.
It was the last place he looked.
Well, I mean, anything you find is in the last place you look, but
he's about to be done looking, and then he finds it, and so yeah, whatever.
So yeah, there's no lack of hustle or drive or eagerness.
Yeah, he's got the work ethic.
Yeah, that goal-oriented man. You got to hand it to military folks for that stuff. They have an extra gear, man. Respect.
I think it's underrated thinking about searching for an idol at nighttime in the jungle. Like, they've got no light to work with. You got the moonlight essentially, and whatever that can provide you with,
and the camera light.
I mean, kind of, but they have night vision or whatever they use that doesn't actually give off, I don't think, really anything. Like,
here's the trick. Do you want to know the trick? When you're obviously you want to look at like notable locations that are kind of weird looking. But if the cameraman kind of stop following you or stop being as interested in filming you when you're looking at a location, it's not there. Now, if they're intently filming you in a location and they won't stop, you're close. That's the trick.
And we've talked about that before. I think that applies maybe a little bit more in like the pre-merge when there's more play, or maybe like early merge when there's a lot of players. When there's only 5 people left, there's enough camera people to always be following you. So like, they're not going to leave you alone.
Right, but they might just, not be as interested in getting more footage of you looking where the idol is not. It's just it's more of a way to gauge, like, okay, I can move on from this area.
One thing that I like about Ryan bringing this up, period, is we don't often talk about how to play the human element of production, because we only get what we get in the edit, and oftentimes, and you have to hand it to Survivor, they are very good at being invisible 99% of the time with respect to like camera crews and producers asking questions, and staying out of frame, out of shot, and cutting around it. Like, they are so good at that. And it's an honestly underrated part of the show. And
I think the only reason they maybe laxed it a little bit is because I think people were interested.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, people like this. They like the vibe, and then he's seeing stuff. Okay.
Yeah. Survivor realized that it's not necessarily keeping the man behind the curtain and just staring at the wizard. Like, no, we can pull back the curtain a little bit. And Jeff has talked about that in his On Fire podcast, and that is my favorite part about the On Fire podcast. So part of the magic of Survivor is, how do you do it? We all watch the Lord of the Rings behind the scenes for a reason.
Chrissy's going to try to patch things up with Ben just in case he wins immunity. They do patch things up, but Ben like sees right through it. He's like, I want her out. So like, they're both doing the right thing and understand what the other person is doing. But Chrissy is going to win immunity. Ben wanted to idle her out of the game. Can't do that anymore. And she's going to bring Mike and Devin on reward. And Mike's going to come up with a plan to use Chrissy's dead super idol to pretend like that is the real idol to get Ben to stop looking. This is a great idea. However, Ben's already found the idol. Womp womp.
Whoops.
Maybe you should have been following him.
Maybe. Ben is going to play along like, oh no, I guess I got beat. And it makes Devin very nervous. Like, oh no, did he actually find the idol? I don't like this. Something's off here.
Meanwhile, everybody else other than Devin is like, man, he bought that. We are so smart and so good at lying. Oh my gosh, we are so good at this.
So we're going to go to Tribal Council, and Ben whips out the idol, and it's pretty awesome. It's 3 votes for Ben. He votes for Devin because he wants to knock Devin out of the game on his next biggest threat. Devin trusted his gut and threw a vote on Dr. Mike just in case. So we have a 1-1 tie that saves Devin.
Yeah.
Oh, this is awesome. This is pretty good from Devin.
I'm so happy for him because, it's like, oh man, I don't want like Dr. Mike to be upset at me. Who cares? Who cares what he thinks? Like, would you rather still be in the game? 100%.
So we're going to do a revote. It's 2 votes for Dr. Mike, 1 vote for Devin. It probably should have been Devin.
It probably should have. Actually, I'm not even going to say probably. It should have been Devin. Ryan and Chrissy, I don't want to say they need Dr. Mike, but actually, no, I do. They need Dr. Mike. They need him.
Yeah, the only other point that was kind of brought up is, maybe Devin is more valuable for beating Ben in challenges. But Chrissy has done that enough herself, like, to prove it. And even so, would you rather get second place to Ben, or would you rather get second place to Devin?
Exactly. Ryan, Mike, and Devin have won nothing. And Ben, actually, the 4 of them, they haven't won anything. Devin won a reward challenge with Chrissy. So, yeah, they're all kind of worthless at challenges. All right. So Dr. Mike goes out here. Josh, who is your best player of the final 5?
It's Ben, because he's trying.
Yep.
And once again, like rinse, repeat, copy, paste of last episode, everyone's just automatically disqualified for being lazy and naive.
I mean, it's Ben, but honorable mention to Devin for learning from past events, throwing a hinky vote on Dr. Mike, and making a final 3 alliance that behooved him, and I think saved him here.
Yeah, honorable mention to Devin. I agree, but it's Ben. For worst player, I'm going to give it to Ryan. Like I said, it was bad that they let him go idol hunting. Chrissy won immunity. Devin saved himself by voting for Dr. Mike. What did Ryan do? What would you say you would do here? Nothing. It's Ryan.
It's Ryan. He needed Dr. Mike to have a chance at winning, and he could have voted out Devin. He should have. So because he had one decision to make and he made the wrong one, it's him.
It's basically him by default. Nothing to add.
All right, final 4. Immunity challenge. Oh, I should mention, Jeff has mentioned there's going to be a twist in the final 4.
It could be anything.
If this was not a family-friendly podcast, I would be swearing up a storm. But we're gonna get the immunity challenge. It's a pretty fun one. Ben almost wins, but you gotta put the letters up and not rock the boat, basically. And Ben puts a U upside down.
Heroes, healers, and hustlers.
Oh,
Hustlers.
Also a nominee for most memorable moment of the season.
Yeah. The upside down U. If Ben had ended up losing the game, that upside down U should have gone to Ghost Island.
Absolutely.
Chrissy wins. She gets immunity. She's going to the finals. She also gets an advantage.
In the form of information.
And it is not an advantage.
This is not an advantage. Let me tell you.
Technically it is.
So Survivor's not a movie. But if it was, it still wouldn't be dumber dialogue than somehow Palpatine returned. And also, spoiler alert for some other show, but who has a better story than blah, blah, blah? That's the dumbest line ever spoken in television. But
we can spoil Game of Thrones. Who has a better story than Bran the Broken?
Yeah, that is the dumbest line in history of television.
Don't watch Game of Thrones.
But this is also pretty dumb.
I'll defend Game of Thrones.
You're the only one.
That's for another conversation.
Chrissy wins immunity and then an advantage in the form of information. No, Jeff. That's the dumbest line spoken in history of television.
So we're going to get the Final 4 fire making challenge. And this is exactly the same thing that happened when they changed it from a Final 2 to a Final 3. They were sick of the fan favorite getting eliminated in the final spot. And so we'll give him another chance. It's the same thing. I'm surprised we haven't moved up to a Final 4 at this point. But the point is, the threatening player, who everyone knows will win, will get eliminated if they can at the last spot. That's the game, Jeff. So this is beyond stupid. I hate this. And the fact that they were not told and this is a surprise is just unforgivable. And this is why this is a bottom 10 episode of Survivor for me. When I watched this live, I was so mad. I was furious. And I still am.
You know, before we even get to this point, this has been kind of a meh season for me, just because it's like, I don't know, the gameplay has been weird. Cast has been subpar as far as, you know, their abilities go. So even without the forced fire making being introduced here, without any information to the players, I would say it'd be about an average season of Survivor. But man, man, is this going to make an impact to some rankings, I have a feeling.
See, I was enjoying this post-merge quite a bit. There's a lot of fun here. And this just tanks. It's so hard. So yeah, I hate this. Chrissy gets to learn this, that she gets to bring someone to the end and two people will have to make fire. So she tells Devin and Ryan this. Ryan has never made fire before, so it's up to Devin.
Which we kind of skate past that, but, you know,
quote.
bad on Ryan.
Yeah.
Like, come on. And especially as a super fan of the game, you're going to go out there and not make fire? Come on, dude.
So Devin's going to practice until his flint breaks, and then he's just going to go meditate, basically. But we go to Tribal Council, and this is where Ben finally learns, like, oh, I actually have a shot. This is great. But Ben is going to win the fire-making competition and knock Devin out of the game. Hashtag robbed.
Justice for Devin.
Justice for Devin. So yeah, Ben moves on, ends up winning the game, and it is utter BS. This is such garbage. I'm angry.
And it wasn't even close. Devin didn't even get a flame.
I'm angry. That's all I have to say.
I'm also angry. I don't have anything else to contribute to this part of the conversation other than production. Why?
Why? Well, we know why. But
we know why.
Don't do this.
It's a bad reason.
Get rid of this at 50. Hopefully.
I hope the fans did their job. Very timely for this to come out for us now, honestly.
Chrissy did play this about as well as she could. You know, she did use this as an advantage of information, withheld the information from Ben, used it so that Devin could prepare. So, you know, as if we're talking about just playing optimally, like she did everything.
Let's get in best and worst player of the episode on that note.
Yes.
Derek.
Yeah, so for the best, I said Chrissy, I guess, because she did everything that she could have possibly conceived. And production screwed her, and Devin and Ryan. So Ben, you get no credit. Your game management and threat management to this point has been abysmal, and you got saved by a BS twist. So you don't get credit for that. I guess great for you for being good at making fire.
Josh?
Yeah, I agree. Like, kind of reluctantly, like, just because it feels like, you know, let's ignore the season that we're on. If fire making was known, maybe I'd give it to Ben, but since we're going in with no information of fire making, I think that she did everything that she could in order to get Ben out of the game. Ben also, you know, lest we forget, Ben finished the immunity challenge and I'm not even gonna say should have won the immunity challenge and then won the game. He got, you know, because after he slipped up and, you know, placed the U upside down, he couldn't get the thing locked back in. He had multiple chances to do that. So it could have been him, just naturally that way. But I think, you know, what Derek said with Chrissy just doing everything that she could correctly, I'm going to give it to her as well.
I don't know how that was even a debate. It's Chrissy, slam dunk. Worst player, who do you got?
I had no one.
Yeah, same.
I can't give it to Ben. Ryan got dragged to final 3 and had no impact on this episode.
Well, Ben was allowed to break the rules one time. I would like some leeway to break the rules here. For the first time ever, the worst player of the episode is Jeff Probst.
You know what? I sign off on this. Jeff Probst gets worst player of the episode.
Because this is absolute garbage.
You know, if there isn't a real player to give it to, that's fine with me. I agree. Jeff Probst.
I gave Jeff a mulligan on letting Ben play an idol incorrectly. I'm taking my stroke here. Worst player of this episode is Jeff Probst.
He did bad and he should feel bad.
Sure.
Thank you for allowing
yeah,
me.
I'm totally fine with this.
And that's the last time it's going to happen. That's not going to happen again.
You know what? When Edge of Extinction comes up, I'm going to give him one just ahead of time.
He's just in front of the worst player of the season.
Yeah, worst player of the season for Edge of Extinction is Jeff Probst.
I give you both one to use now that you've let me have one.
All right, final tribal council. There isn't a ton of this. Basically, the three kind of flawed finalists. Ryan's plan is to go in and try and lie his way through the entire thing and say he controlled the entire game, which you shouldn't do, but again, he doesn't have much option.
At least he recognizes it. He knows.
But he does bring up the Super Idol and how that allowed him to make alliances that got him to the end of the game. Ashley's going to ask him, why did you never have a strategic conversation with me? Ooh. Ben and Chrissy are both heavily criticized for their social games. Very, very fair. Chrissy does point out, like, she listened to people. She connected with people. It just, she didn't make that turn to make them strategic conversations as well.
Yeah, she didn't parlay it into actual gameplay.
I really appreciate what Ryan said here, because this was my main takeaway when I was watching the season live, is I had a really big issue with what Chrissy was like trying to do. It wasn't as bad the second time around. I remember it being a lot worse than this, but he said the social game isn't remembering just facts about people, which Chrissy does very well. She's like, oh, you like this about your family or this about your childhood. Like, okay, cool. Like you can listen and learn about people, but that's not really what the social game is. It's more so just how people feel about you, just on, you know, that individual level. So I think that's a little bit of a disconnect with Chrissy.
Yes, I agree. But some people do find that, like, hey, did you learn anything about me important? So sure. I think everyone's right.
That's the beauty of the social game, but also
everyone's right and everyone's wrong.
That's why it's so hard. What does the social game mean to every player?
Cole's going to give Ben credit for intentionally painting a target on his back with the food. And Ryan's be like, yeah, but that was strictly personal. Maybe, but it was a good move.
He's trying.
Ryan is criticized for his lack of work ethic. He says he didn't want to step on anyone's toes or screw up. And Lauren points out, like, none of us wanted to screw up. We still stepped up and did it and tried a new experience. And they're like, did you even get water once? You can't really screw up getting water. And womp womp.
Yeah.
It is interesting because I do think Ryan does have the best social game, but it almost doesn't matter because he didn't do anything else. And so this is one of those rare instances where, like, yes, you can have the best social game of the final three, but you got to do that. That's part one. You got to do more than that.
And again, there's that one just kind of like nexus point of when, you know, his alliance with Devin fractured that just sent his game into an entire just tailspin. And if that didn't end up happening, you know, people could see his social game being positive because he would actually make moves and do things with those alliances. So it's just crazy how different it could have been.
Christy gets a lot of props for her challenge wins, and you know, she ties the record for most individual immunities won by a woman in Survivor with 4. Ben is praised for his ability to find and locate idols and play them correctly. And again, they may have, let's say they were planted for him to find. Let's just say that was true. Nobody else would know that. It looks more impressive than maybe it was. And Chrissy and Ryan are criticized for not babysitting Ben. Very, very fair.
Thank you, Desi.
Yes.
So, but the votes are going to go, Ben gets 5, Chrissy gets 2 from Ashley and Mike, Ryan gets 1 from Devin. So this is going to be interesting, and I'm really curious where you guys are going to land. Who would we have voted for? Josh, start us off. Who would you have voted for?
Oh, it's Ben, and it's not even close.
Okay, interesting.
100% Ben. Kind of like how the best play of the episodes have gone the last, 3, you know, outside the most recent one, the other ones before that. It is almost an automatic disqualifier when you can look at someone who goes off and finds idols and just assume that they're not going to find another one, or that there might not be another idol in the game, or that you have the luxury of just, you know, being lazy and laying down and just, you know, putting it up to chance that you know, it's not going to happen. That is enough to lose my vote if I was on the jury. And I don't know if that was a decision maker for anyone, but it would have been for me. Ben had a really bad social game, but Chrissy also had a pretty bad social game, I think. You know, again, she had fun facts about people, but the way that she made people feel at certain times, she rubbed me the wrong way, just like through the edit. Maybe it'd be
Desi hated her.
Yeah, maybe it'd be different if I was on an island, maybe not. Ryan, you know, seemed like he had a pretty good one. So, you know, good on him for that. Chrissy's one thing that she had, you know, was the immunities. Ben's was the idols. I don't think that either of them were very good strategically. Ben just kind of like went into preservation mode. And if no one else is going to prevent him from going into preservation mode and being successful at it, he 100% deserves the win. I shouldn't even say kind of, because I've been this way for, ever since I watched it live, but I'm kind of a Chrissy hater. People like think, oh, justice for Chrissy, Chrissy was robbed. No, Devin's the one who was robbed in this situation with the Final Four fire making. Or maybe, Chrissy should have won over Ben because all he did was find idols. Chrissy had so many bad moments. And again, Ben also did, but Chrissy's not a good Survivor player. And multiple times watching in the post merge, the amount of times that I rolled my eyes and just thought to myself, like, man, Chrissy sucks. Chrissy really sucks. Just because she'd just get on her high horse, be all like high and mighty, and, not be willing to work with, Ben, or even like hear someone out and just think like, just kind of like, I'm better than you for like whatever reason. I don't know what it is. She really rubbed me the wrong way. And again, Ben annoyed me as well. So I'm not saying that he's amazing or anything like that. But like, to me, it's not even close. I would have given it to Ben.
I think that was what Josh was waiting to say. He finally got to
that he's a
and
Chrissy hater.
And I don't even think I articulated it well.
You
did.
He got to uncork it.
So this is interesting because I would have voted for Chrissy. And here's why. Once we get to Edge of Extinction, somebody is going to say at that Final Tribal Council, the twist Edge of Extinction is not on trial. And I said, maybe it should be. The Final Four fire-making twist might not be on trial, but maybe it should be. And I am petty, and I hold grudges against that kind of thing. I would refuse to vote for Ben because I know he would have been the person voted out if it wasn't for this dumb BS production twist. So I would be spiteful and hold that twist against Ben. I would not want to reward production for doing this dumb BS. So I would refuse to vote for Ben. Ryan did badly at Final Tribal Council. His whole attempt at an argument kind of falls apart. Chrissy gets my vote by default. I'll give her credit for the challenge performances, but I'm not voting for Ben and I'm not voting for Ryan. Therefore, I have to vote for Chrissy. So Chrissy gets my vote.
My only rebuttal to that, because I get the reasoning, I respect the reasoning. My rebuttal is if Ben, if fire making wouldn't exist and Ben would just get voted out naturally, Chrissy's not the one who wins.
Yeah, Devin wins.
So why reward? So you're rewarding someone who would have probably gotten second place anyways. I know you want to just exclude Ben, but I feel like it's a little flawed to be just automatically.
So is the Final Four fire making is also a little flawed.
I understand.
This is Survivor's fault. This is not my fault. I'm voting for Chrissy, and it's not my fault.
I teased it at the beginning of the episode, and here's as good a place as any to talk about it. So for years, Ryan and I have gone back and forth on justice for Chrissy or justice for Devin Pinto, and unfortunately Josh already said it. Chrissy should have never won this season. It should have been Devin Pinto. Now I know, again, it's a bit of a toss-up with whether or not the jury would have seen that or respected it enough to give him credit for what he did do. I mean, even thinking of Ben going undercover was a brilliant move. But after watching this season, I'm more convinced than ever that I would have that Devin should have won. Who would I have voted for? If I thought that I had an amazing season and there was a chance they were going to bring me back, I would vote for Ben to not piss off Jeff. If there was no way that I was coming back to Survivor and I just needed to make a point, I'm voting for Chrissy because I'm petty like Ryan. But that said, all three players incredibly flawed. Ben playing the way he did, he got saved by production. I don't want to reward that. That's not the kind of gameplay that I would have wanted to reward. If on day one we find out that it's Final Four forced fire making, I vote for Ben 10 times out of 10.
Yep.
I can't reward the arrogance to not babysit someone. That's just so egregious.
Fair.
That's fair.
That's the last thing.
I can't reward production.
I get it.
Both Ben and Chrissy are going to play again. Ben in Winners at War, Chrissy upcoming at 50, so we don't even know how she does yet. Do you guys want to see them come back?
No.
I always want to see a winner come back. And you know what? Anytime a winner has something to prove, I feel the same way about winner of 38. We won't spoil that here, but Edge of Extinction, obviously, twist on trial. Ben is kind of a similar situation. I'm happy to see him come back. Let's see what he can do. Chrissy, I am happy to see her come back. She's flawed, but she has chops, and it's something that she can correct, especially if you go back and you watch it and you really take in, oh, that's how I was coming across. So I think she has a game that is correctable. I am interested to see what she can do on 50.
Gosh, I really hope that I'm consistent with what I said when we were doing our Survivor 50 like assessment. But no, I'm not really excited to see Chrissy. I hope there's things that are different, given the amount of time that's passed. As for Ben, sure, I'm in the camp that, bring a winner back. I really wish it wasn't Winners at War, just because there's plenty of other winners I'd rather see at Winners at War than Ben. Bring him back for a different season, in a different environment.
Ben is so outclassed in Winners at War, it's not even funny. So yeah, that's a really good point. I wish I hadn't been Winners at War, but yeah, like bring a winner back. It's not Ben's fault, even though I won't vote for him because of it. But he was played the hand he was dealt. This is not personal against Ben. My reasoning for not voting for him. So yeah, bring him back. Let him try again. Chrissy, she was someone. She and Devin, and I think technically Ryan, were robbed by BS. Not that I think Ryan would ever have won in a million years, but technically yes. So bring all three of them back. They deserve it just because production screwed them. So sure. I'm not a big Chrissy fan either. As I said, I would vote for her. But sure, whatever. Reunion show. It is the shortest one in Survivor history. We have nothing to say.
And we're done.
Let's get into best and worst player of the season. As a reminder, only the top 12 here are eligible, the people who made the merge. It's Devin Pinto. I think I gave Ben more best players of the episode, but Devin is the more consistently good player. His only real flaw is that he's probably a little too chill in terms of letting people look for idols, and he's not. Probably too laid back. So if he can bump up that urgency, he should have won the season.
I gave it to Ben very reluctantly. The reason being is because he wasn't getting babysat. I give him points for outworking the ever-living crap out of everyone that should have found those idols back when they really wanted to get him out. I know he was saved by a BS twist, but if we're talking best of this particular season under these particular parameters, I understand that maybe Final Force fire making should be on trial, but if you step back, all right, the fact that he worked himself into this position made him production's darling. Chrissy could have been production's darling, who outworked everyone and made it to Final Force firemaking and saved herself. So for that reason, I will give it to Ben, but it is a reluctant give. Devin is definitely second and should have won.
Those are the two options. I'm gonna lean Ben on this one, for everything that Derek said. Again, no one's babysitting him. But then also, he did have some good strategic moves in the middle, there in the early post merge, and all the way back to the pre merge, which we love to talk about, when he decided to make that pairing with Chrissy. Questionable moves as well, but so did Devin. I think that Devin was a little trigger happy when it came to burning Alliance members off of one thing that Ben said, which, again, credit to Ben for being able to convince him and using information against Ryan. So it's really close for me, but I'm going to give it to Ben.
Worst player, Derek.
I had originally written down Cole, and now here at the 11th hour, I am switching it to Dr. Mike. Because even when he had his back against the wall and he finally needed to do something, he managed to do pretty much all the wrong things. By way of being here for longer and having more time to make horrible moves, of the post-merge specifically, it is Dr. Mike.
I really thought that this was going to be Joe, but Mike snatches it away. He just had a terrible post-merge, and we just kind of knew what Joe was. Mike just had so many bad moves, and again, one last thing is that he kept doubling and tripling down on his poor self-awareness, thinking that all he had to do was make it to the end and he would win, and that was never the case.
Yeah, it's Dr. Mike for everything you guys said. It was almost Cole, but Dr. Mike, by being in the game longer, gets it. All right, Jeff Watch. Dirk, did you have anything for Jeff Watch?
Only that there were so many advantages and idols all over in this game. Did we learn nothing from Suri going home last season with absolutely 0 votes?
They liked it.
We learned nothing, and there was at a moment 3 idols in the game in the post-merge, and that is too many. We'll say 1 too many because pre-merge stuff can happen, but no. So that's the only thing for Jeff Watch.
We're really in that era.
Yeah, we are.
Oh, also, Final Forced fire making is garbage, and he won a worst player of the episode. So that's my Jeff Watch.
It's just sad, Jeff. That's just sad. Weather report. Do you have anything?
No, there wasn't much.
Okay. All right. Next, we got to do our most memorable moment of the season. So in the pre-merge, Josh, you ended up giving it to Devin.
That is not an advantage.
That's right. So that was our pre-merge winner. So going into the post-merge, what is the most memorable moment of the post-merge, and does it beat that?
So my finalists ended up being Devin wasted on the beach. Ben bombs, just because I was referenced several times. The upside down U in Hustlers, and the surprise fire making debut, and the revealing of that being the twist.
That's mine. Is the reveal that it is what the Final Four twist was is mine.
It's really unfortunate, but I think that has to be it. Like, I really want to give it to Devin Wasted, or even like the upside down letter stands out a lot to me. But I think that, when you think of Heroes, Healers, Hustlers, you're like, what season was that? Oh yeah, the one that Ben won. Oh, that's right.
Oh.
That, like, even if you do think of Devin and how Ben like got there with all of his Ben bombs, it doesn't matter, because the very first thing that you think of before all those is the debut of fire making.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it has to be that.
The season is defined by how it ended. I agree.
It's tainted, unfortunately, which is really too bad. Now, does that beat? That is not an advantage. They go hand in hand.
It's basically the same thing.
It's basically the same thing.
We've
Devin
got a
getting
theme
boned.
going here.
Devin getting screwed by production.
I guess Devin Wasted.
Oh no!
Really is. The word.
It sums it up nicely.
It's got to be fire making.
Yeah, unfortunately, I agree.
Yep.
All right, last thing we got to do, and I think because of this, that most memorable moment, it's gonna make this season fall quite a few spots for all of us. Where does Heroes, Healers, Hustlers end up in the final season rankings? I will go first. So starting from the top, season 33, Millennials vs. Gen X, then Cagayan, Cambodia, Philippines, Blood vs. Water, Palau, Pearl Islands, Korong, Tocantins, Vanuatu, Micronesia, China, Borneo, San Juan del Sur, South Pacific, Amazon, Fiji, Guatemala, Panama, Samoa, Africa, Australia, Gabon, Marquesas, Nicaragua, Heroes vs. Villains, Caramoan, Worlds Apart, and finally, Heroes vs. Healers vs. Hustlers. So that is in the bottom 29th place, followed by Cook Islands, Game Changers, All Stars, Thailand, One World, Redemption Island.
Honestly, I get it. I really do. I'm not going to read all of mine. I'm just going to say roughly where I am. Well, not roughly, but so at number 22, I have Survivor 29, San Juan del Sur. At number 23, I have Survivor 35, Heroes, Healers, Hustlers, followed by Gabon, Africa, and Cook Islands. I just wanted to share a few. That's kind of the tier of Survivor that I put it in. Most of it is average. The end brings it down a peg into the bottom half of Survivor through 35 seasons for me.
Josh?
I'm trying not to overreact. I'm really trying not to overreact.
Overreact, it's fine.
All right, with the right to, change rankings in the future, which all of us are able to. Reading from the top, I have Cagayan number 1, then China, Millennials versus Gen X, Cambodia, Pearl Islands, Micronesia, Fans versus Favorites, Heroes versus Villains, Blood versus Water, Tocantins, Palau, Amazon, Vanuatu, Philippines, Korong, Borneo, Australia, South Pacific, Guatemala, Fiji, Panama, Africa, Samoa, Cook Islands, Nicaragua, San Juan del Sur, Gabon, Marquesas, Game Changers, Worlds Apart, Caramoan, Fans versus Favorites, One World, All Stars, Heroes versus Healers versus Hustlers, in spot number 33.
All right.
Which, if you're keeping track, is third from the bottom. The only two I have below it are Redemption Island and Thailand.
Wow.
Like I said, this was an average season of Survivor. Like, I don't, like, I kind of nothing the pre-merge. The people, I don't know. They don't actively suck, but the amount of times that I just roll my eyes and get mad about how they're playing the game in the post-merge, it wrapped all up with the wrong person like winning the season because of an unknown twist. Not to mention that they really start to ramp up the amount of advantages in the game here. Also, it's a terrible theme.
True.
It's just dumb. I can't put it any lower than this. But it is in that bottom tier of Survivor for me. I'm actually surprised that I'm the one who put it down the lowest. I didn't expect anyone to put it lower than me, but to be a little bit closer, I was expecting. So yeah, 33rd.
Josh, you're going to hate one of my reasons why it's not quite that low. I like Joe a lot. That's one of my reasons. That's why Joe boosted a little bit.
You are able to have that opinion.
Thank you. I appreciate you. All right, this has gone crazy long, so we're going to wrap this up. Anything you guys want to plug here?
Nope, just that we're going to be moving into our coverage of season 50 in various ways, and to stay tuned for all of that.
Yep, season 50 be the next thing you hear from us.
Leave your Spotify comments, engage with us on socials, but we're looking forward to season 50 here in the real time. Otherwise, hopefully it stays evergreen for you guys.
Yeah, at Castaway Pod, wherever you might want to follow us outside of, Spotify, always welcome. Great way to engage us with us there as well.
Perfect. All right. So yeah, season 50 is up next. We'll see Chrissy again right away.
Yes.
Anything else, guys?
Nope.
All right. This has been the Castaway Consultants.
Got nothing else for you.
Good night.